In this episode of the Jock and Nerd Podcast, we review one of Marvel's weirdest properties that they've managed to bring to the big screen, Doctor Strange. Full review with David Molofsky from A Place to Hang Your Cape. We got a little bit of geek news. Also, David highlights an independent comic book on Kickstarter for you guys to check out. All in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Saturday, November 12th, 2016. Hey, Wong, what'd you put in this tea?
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. We're talking, we nerded. We funny, disturbing. We're talking, we nerded. Spoiler alert. Oh yeah. We're talking, we nerded. We funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. We're talking, we nerded. Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah. What's up, listener? Welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Thanks for pressing play. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And he's the Rug Boy. Jock and Nerd. What's up, Rugs? Nice to hear you.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Thanks for joining us. Also joining us all the way from the United Kingdom in the future, over the seas, editor in cape of A Place to Hang Your Cape that you can find at ap2hyc.com. And you can also find our show there because they carry us, Mr. David Molofsky. What's up, D?
What's up, guys? And a special what's up to Rugboy, because this is the first time we've done a podcast together.
Oh, my God. David's had the biggest geek boner for getting on a show with Rugboy for the longest time, and I'm happy I can this is like Jock and Nerd wishes. I fulfilled a wish.
Make a Jock and Nerd wish.
It's a Jock and Nerd wish program.
Meet an asshole foundation.
There it is.
Meet a felty asshole and help homeless people. I don't know. Look, if you're a regular listener, you probably noticed we ran a brand new intro. What'd you guys think of that?
Sounds pretty bad.
You didn't like it, Ruggs? It was
No.
Anthony, what'd you think? That was the first time you heard that. What are your thoughts?
You know, I heard it on my phone and I liked it. Playing it a lot louder could be a little cleaner.
Wow, everyone's just shitting on this intro. Molofsky, what are your thoughts?
I thought it was a little. I'm going to go with it was a little bit strange.
Oh,
just keeping with the theme, but yeah, I don't know. I'm so used to the gypsy folk.
Jazz.
Well, listen.
Gypsy jazz, that's it.
Look,
It's
man,
funny because I suggested to use this intro and then I don't know.
Oh, you fucking asshole. Look,
It's just not clean.
It marks the new old world order that's begun. So the world is changing and we are moving with it. Maybe we'll go back to the old one. But look, stick around to the end of the show because we're going to outro. That's just a snippet. There's a full version with verses produced by DJ Bamzilla and the Jock and Nerd Podcast. So, listener.
It's just funny shitting on anything you do, though. Right? Your positivity just invites shit.
It's good. I got to have checks and balances. So stick around to the end. Listen to the whole song. Let us know what you think. If you are a new listener, well, then you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what the other things sound like. You're going to love it. But thanks for joining us. Here's what we're going to do. This is the Jock and Nerd Weekly. We got a little bit of news. Not a lot because I want to keep the main show open for our focus because we are going to review and discuss Marvel's latest entry, Doctor Strange. And we're going to finish it up with a little Kickstarter corner as David Molofsky and A Place to Hang Your Cape. They do great job supporting the independent comics, supporting their Kickstarters. We've met a lot of cool people, D, from you doing this. So I'm excited to hear that. Thanks for that.
Yeah, dude. I saw both John and Brett over the last 2 weekends, and they were really excited about the way the episodes came out.
That's great to hear. And that's the other thing, listener. If you're a new listener, David is an American geek in London.
Oh, shit.
He doesn't sound English, but he is English, so technically.
I'm actually working on it. I've decided I need to start working on my British accent.
Get that dual citizenship. That's going to be important in the near future, I think.
Very important.
Look, before we proceed, I want to mention to that new listener, check out our last episode. If you're a Disney fan or if you're just someone who likes to hear inspiring stories, we had a great conversation with veteran Disney legendary animator Floyd Norman, the first black animator to be hired in Disney, 1956, and the man still works at Disney. He had 60 years of working in the industry. It was a great show, and I just want to mention that you should go to floydnormanmovie.com and buy the Blu-ray of this because there are special features on that disc, bonus footage. It's also on Netflix, so check it out on Netflix, but I think you're going to want to get the extra stuff because it's a great documentary, and I had a great time with Floyd, man. He was a cool cat. Anthony, I think I know the answer to this, but did you get a chance to listen to that?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Shit.
No surprise there. And then finally, listener, before we get on with the program, we kind of have to mention the big purple elephant in the room. Purple and orange. Orange and purple. It's different shades depending on the lighting. And that is the season finale of Apprentice America.
Oh, shit.
Just aired last week. They picked a winner, and, well, now we have Donald Trump.
Hey, as if you're not a part of America.
I didn't pick the winner. They picked the
Here we
winner.
go.
But look, I welcome our orange overlords, and now we have a CEO of America, Mr. Donald Trump. But look, here's the thing. We're going to save this discussion for the post show, only because now more than ever, you, listener, need this show as a safe space to escape from the wackiness that is our world in 2016 right now. But I want to go around and just, you know how we do instant reactions on Patreon for movies and stuff? We're going to do a little instant reaction-y thing here. Anthony, I want you to tell me when this was happening, what were your instant reactions, and what are the feelings of the millennials around you in your group? Real quick.
I was asleep when this happened.
Okay, good. That was probably the best way to take it.
I was asleep. Instant reaction amongst millennials?
Yeah.
If you look at like stats on millennials and who they voted for, it was overwhelmingly Hillary. So obviously you could say that the millennials are pretty upset. My instant reaction, I didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I was pretty surprised, but hey, democracy, right? That's who we elected.
That's
not
who
they.
we.
I'm not going to go with they like Imran over here.
The show
We
Apprentice
elected
America picked the winner. Ruggs, what were your initial reactions, and what's the reaction in the Felty community?
Well, kind of like we think of Trump as like not a human being,
Yeah.
so it's like we kind of like it.
He's one of you guys. He's one of you.
Yeah, he's like he's practically a Felty. I mean, he is an unreal
His
character.
hair is floppy. He's got googly eyes.
He's got a hand up his ass.
He's got a hand up his ass. Absolutely.
Something up his ass.
Yeah, so I mean, the Felties they're okay. Look, I mean, the way that I see it is that when you have George W. Bush as your president for like 8 years, and he steers the entire universe into a crash, and we figure out a way out of it, well, anything that happens, we're gonna be
Missed
fine.
the George W. Bush. Now, Molofsky, as an American living out there, we've now experiencing a Brexit hangover. What was your initial reaction, and what is the feeling out there in the UK?
It's been a long week. It's been like everyone on Tuesday was just like, on Monday actually was like, so are you ready for the big day tomorrow? And I was like, oh shit, what's going on? But yeah, it's been hard. The feeling over here is very similar to Brexit, although everyone sort of feels like they're distancing themselves from it over here.
Yeah.
Like where, when Brexit happened, it was like, oh, okay, but at least America's going to be all right. And now it's sort of like, well, Yep. It was like, it was that England was like, well, we really screwed up. And America was just like, wait, hold my drink.
Yes. The old hold my drink. Look, I have so many thoughts. We will get into it in the post show. But as far as my initial reaction, it can be best summed up in a series of sound clips. All right. Stay with me here, guys. Here we go.
You maniacs! You blew it up! Oh, damn you! God damn you all to hell! Why are you putting people through this?
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
I think that speaks for itself. Let's get to the news.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
Hey, if you guys want to contact the show, send us hate mail, love mail, tweet at us, Facebook at us, send us a speak pipe. Just go to jockandnerd.com/contact, where you'll also find a link to our Facebook group, which, David Molofsky, you're very active in. I can't thank you enough. Thanks to everyone for posting stuff. I love pulling stuff for our news segments to talk about from there, because I already know you guys are interested. So let's keep that going. I love it. We're going to start with a little bit of DCEU news, just one thing. Suicide Squad's finally wrapped up its domestic run. We have a final tally. I think it's kind of interesting because it ended with about $325 million domestically, which is just $5 million below where Batman versus Superman ended its run.
Lame.
Does that surprise anyone at all?
Can you give me some context? Like, how did Civil War do in that? Like, is that good? I don't even know. Is that good?
You're asking questions that Imran doesn't have answers immediately.
I know he doesn't have to.
Google it.
All right, let me see. Hang on. Now I've got homework.
The important thing is that for less of a budget, this thing almost made the same amount of money as BVS. Like, that's got to be sending some signal to Warner Brothers. They already don't know what the fuck they're doing. And they're like, hey, wait a minute. Why? This wasn't
Well, it was a better movie than Batman versus Superman. It was more satisfying of a movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
I would go with it that's got to be, regardless of if it's a better movie, that's super surprising just because
right?
Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, no one can argue that those aren't 3 out of the top 4 IPs in all of superhero comics.
Absolutely.
Throw in Spider-Man maybe. And Suicide Squad has, Harley Quinn's probably, or Joker's probably in there, but
barely.
Like maybe top 20. Harley Quinn's maybe in the top 100.
Well, that's changing fast.
It's changing, but
yeah, she's definitely shooting up.
yeah, but are you going to argue to me that Harley Quinn is more popular than Batman or Superman? Come on now.
I wouldn't, but I might argue that she's more popular than Wonder Woman with the young girls at the moment.
I guarantee you that more people dressed up as Harley Quinn than Superman.
Oh, there was probably like hundreds of Harley Quinns over Halloween.
Having been to 2 Comic-Cons the last 2 weekends, I can guarantee.
I would say the females don't have as many things to choose from.
Fair enough.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like they instantly made Harley Quinn a superstar like in the first weekend.
Yeah.
Or even when that first commercial came out.
I don't know if any of you guys would go, man, before Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman came out, Superman would only make $5 million more than Suicide Squad.
Right?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think any of you guys would be like, yeah, that's going to happen.
No,
But the question there is it because BVS underperformed, or is it because Suicide Squad
Yeah.
overperformed?
A little of both.
Both. Absolutely
It's
both.
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. So, I don't know. They're having all sorts of problems. They can't find someone to direct Flash. We'll see what happens. But Wonder Woman looks good. But I don't think, like you said, I don't think a lot of girls are going to be dressing as Wonder Woman right away.
Listen, the movie's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe a lot of the girls. I don't know. For some reason, I think they have more in common with Harley Quinn.
It's a cheap, so I've been to 2 Comic-Cons the last couple of weekends, and it's a cheaper costume and it's an easier costume.
And
it's depending on how you do it, it's a slightly less revealing costume or it's a slightly more revealing costume. So I think it's, I definitely saw a lot of Harleys and very few
Plus,
Wonder
you can
Woman.
do a lot of different twists on the look to make it your own, whereas Wonder Woman, you're going to kind of have to just look like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, it's a lot more fun to fucking paint your face and act crazy than it is to just be noble.
Right? It's more fun to be a fucking crazy person for one day.
Just act out
Do
of
you
your...
think that I'm going to just throw something out there that's kind of weird. Do you think that Wonder Woman having an accent takes away from her appeal to the general American person?
Oh, that's a good point. It might do something like subconsciously, maybe.
Well, we know that we're living in this post-Trump time.
So they're going to be like, oh, I think we need to deport Wonder Woman. What's going on with this? Let me see her green
She
card.
is from the Amazon, so she's not really an American hero.
Yeah. And I mean, even, like you said, though, in the cartoons, she always has kind of a regal. Did they give her a British accent ever, or was it always like an American accent?
She's always been
it's
kind
always
of American.
Yeah.
Always been that New York, that Jersey accent.
So, yeah, people from, Themyscira sound like they're from Brooklyn, something.
From Newark.
They're from Newark.
No, she had like a Midwestern accent.
Yeah, I mean, but Ruggs, that's a good point. It may alienate her more than endear her to some people, unfortunately, which it shouldn't, but it makes more sense for the character. We'll see. That movie should be pretty dope, though.
I hope so.
Before we move on, I've got the top 10 movies of the year in front of me.
Okay.
The Secret Life of Pets has earned $366 million.
Wow.
So that's more than both BVS and Suicide Squad. So I think that gives you some perspective on that.
I saw that. That movie wasn't that great. It was just okay. That's weird.
Yeah, that's the number 5 movie of the year. Jungle Book, Zootopia, Finding Dory, and Civil War all earned even more than that. So I would have thought BVS would have been a lot higher on that list.
It should have been. Clearly should have been. But you know what happened with that movie. All right, let's move on to Marvel news, since we are going to be reviewing Doctor Strange. There was a bunch of crazy Spider-Man Homecoming news, so it's a Spider-Man Homecoming news segment. Michael Giacchino, the guy who composed Doctor Strange, he's going to have a busy year in terms of movies. He also stepped in to score Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and he is going to score Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't know if that's good or bad. The music for Doctor Strange was okay. I don't know.
Oh, shut up, Imran.
I thought it was going to be more memorable.
Yeah, you were hyping it up like this was going to be the one that breaks the mold for Marvel.
I did. I recognized the theme from the end credits because we had talked about it on the show. But really, the rest of it, I don't really remember it.
I was listening to the soundtrack right before this, actually, and while I was doing my prep, and I have to say it sounded like elevator. It was like background elevator
That's
music.
That's what Anthony said. So maybe, let's see what Giacchino can bring to.
I mean, it's not going to detract from the film. It's not going to add anything either.
I just miss the days of your Superman themes and your Batman iconic themes, and no one's really done that.
Unless James Gunn is behind the film, you're not going to get that from Marvel films.
No, but not even using, existing songs, like an original tune, an original melody that you remember.
Yeah, well, they're not doing that Danny Elfman shit.
No, nobody does that.
I was about to say.
Nobody does that anymore.
It's not even a Marvel thing. It's a movie.
That's just how they move on. Also,
I think it's because honestly, it's because this is my theory. When you had the previous movies, they were in a self-contained world. They weren't crossing over, and it's hard to mix all these themes together with each other.
That's a good point.
And I find that it's really weird that they even gave Wonder Woman her own distinctive.
Oh, there's a good example of that. Yes, you do hear that guitar, and now at the end of the trailer, it's starting to tie it together.
But they only played at the end.
Yeah. Or in her.
Yeah, and you're right. It didn't really fit in with the music for the rest of the
film.
film.
No, it sticks out.
It really stood out.
Yeah, and that's like I think Junkie XL, instead of Hans Zimmer, influence.
So they're making them deliberately bland so they can mix into each other and kind of give hints of these things. Now, is that lazy? Yeah, I mean, you can get somebody like a really good person who knows how to mix stuff together and make it work, or at least have flourishes in there without it being too obvious. But yeah, it may create some work.
But you're right, Ruggs. You would need one composer to oversee all of the MCU movies to be the guy who can weave the themes in and out and make sure it all kind of matches and it's cohesive. But that's never going to happen. So.
Was it? I linked a video in our community. I forgot what it's called, but the directors fall in love with the stand-in music.
The temp music. Yeah.
I saw that.
They're like, well, make it sound like this.
I mean, I think at least Doctor Strange broke away a little bit from that, just a little bit, but they got a lot of work to do to make things memorable. Now, Thor Ragnarok, I believe, is being scored by one of the guys from Devo. So that could be really fun. Already, this movie is going to be wacky, Taika Waititi, crazy sci-fi. That could be interesting pairing with the Thor Ragnarok. Also, long rumored, we've talked about Michael Keaton maybe playing the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming. Never officially confirmed. Well, Kevin Feige kind of let it slip in a recent interview with the Toronto Sun. He said, we've had a wish list, and most of them in the near term are coming together. Kate Blanchett is playing Hela in Thor Ragnarok. Michael Keaton's Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming is something. And of course, we're finally showcasing Josh Brolin's Thanos. We're looking forward to that very much. So, for all intents and purposes, confirming, what we knew, Michael Keaton will play the Vulture. And then, via Reddit, we got a possible look at the Vulture suit. Take this with a grain of salt. It could be anything. But it looks a lot like the concept artwork. Listener, I'll put a link in the show notes so you can check it out, jockandnerd.com/139. Basically, he's got it's like cargo pants, a bomber jacket. There's a helmet. You don't see a face. You see wings with little circular helicarrier things. What do you guys think of design? David, let's start with you. What do you think of this, if this is actually it?
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's nothing special. Honestly, I feel like they're just trying to go as far as they can from Birdman.
Oh, that's a good point.
And it's just like they don't want to draw that comparison. So like that's why the torso, the jacket and the trousers look like that. I mean, the wings, whatever. But I mean, it's kind of boring. But I think that's the reason for it.
Rugs, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't see it. Where is it?
It's in the show notes. Remember, click. I put the link in the show notes. Oh, that's it. There you go. Oh, he pasted it. There you go.
Okay.
While he looks at it, I'll react.
Anthony, what do you think?
The bomber jacket. So they're trying to kind of pay homage to the Vulture look with his whatever the fuck he had around his neck.
Yeah, the puffy. He had like
That's
a
a good
puffy
call.
white collar. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's. I mean, like Molofsky said, it's not the best, but I think it's like version 1 of his suit. Like if you remember Iron Man, like Whiplash, that was like version 1. He was in a prison guard outfit. Like it'll evolve. He'll wear something a little closer to the comic book equivalent. He's not going to look like fucking Vulture from the comics, dude.
Well,
Like, that looks ridiculous.
It does. You see that he's an old man in a white green jumpsuit. But Molofsky, your comment was interesting because the Birdman look in the movie is pretty much what the Vulture would look like dead on.
Yep.
It's a good Vulture look, even with the makeup in the eyes. Like he's scary. Rugs, what is your thoughts on this?
So we're just looking at this sketch here. We're talking about this sketch. Yes. Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, they should have at least made the cargo pants and the jacket like the same color, and maybe even had the helmet look a little bit more of a distinct color. But I don't hate it. I mean, it looks cooler than fucking Adrian Toombs walking around in a skin tight striped outfit with a fucking fluffy neck.
Like in the books, like
that's a little bit too on the nose. It only works it's not going to work in the real world. I like the creative solution to the puffy neck with the bomber jacket.
Yeah,
that's actually a stroke of genius, I think, design wise. But yeah, I think they should all be one continuous color.
I guess you need a helmet, otherwise you get lots of bugs in your teeth flying around. You don't want that. That's a distracting.
Well, you also could hide your identity.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, but I agree. It's okay. It's a little generic. Hopefully, it's just an evolution.
It's probably version 1.
Yeah. Here's something that almost kind of angered me about this movie, where now I'm really on the fence about this movie.
You're never on the fence.
But listen, I may be because this article is titled, Why Spider-Man Won't Actually Punch Villains in Homecoming. And it's from Cinema Blend. So it's regarding Tom Holland has made some comments. I think it was THR. So he's explained that Peter Parker won't throw a single punch during the events of Spider-Man Homecoming. He says every decision we make on set is based off how would a kid react in this situation. So every fight scene we have designed in a way that's almost child-friendly. He never actually punches anyone. It's all done kind of by accident. I think the biggest difference is youth and innocence. So just reading that right away, I was like, oh, this is going to be a kiddie movie. Why is he not punching someone? But it kind of makes sense in a sense that should be using theatrics. He should be jumping around and shooting webs. And I guess a young kid wouldn't.
I think they're overthinking it.
I think so, too. I think you got to throw a couple of punches. It's just instinct.
This is like really like, oh my God, I hate this. I mean, really? Are you serious?
Right.
Like, I mean, we grew up with Power Rangers beating the fuck out of each other all the time.
They were all teenagers.
Oh, Thundercats, G.I. Joe shooting at each other, even with lasers though. But there was like real stakes, and we're like denying any kind of reality to kids, and this is why we have the problems that we have. Oh my God.
I don't know. I think it could be all right. Like, I don't actually remember if he threw any punches in Civil War.
I was just gonna make that point.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he threw a single punch in Civil War, and it actually ended up being an awesome action sequence.
Yeah,
and you remember the Fox show where he wasn't allowed to throw punches?
Oh,
the first animated show in the 90s.
That's right. In the cartoon, they didn't have him do that.
I do think they're overthinking it. I think they should let him throw punches, but they've been able to get away with him not throwing punches before.
That was sort of my point. That, like, you know, he has more in his arsenal than just his fists. So let him use the webs. Let him, you know, do something else, and maybe it's not necessarily a punch to the face. But
he's more than just a punchy guy. But he is like.
But in reality, wouldn't Spider-Man punch people?
Spider-Man is he's like one of the strongest heroes in the Marvel universe.
I mean, we're fucking gotta be kidding me.
He has people don't have no idea how strong he is. You got to do something like he punches someone maybe a little too hard, and then he realizes that, whoa, I'm stronger than I think. But
like you have Batman who makes a conscious decision not to use guns, okay?
Right.
But he uses everything else that's possible. Now, he has everything but a gun that shoots bullets. He has all kinds of other stuff that fires stuff and this and that and whatever. And then even in the movies, they have the Batmobile shooting fucking shit all
Sometimes he
over the
uses
place.
guns, though.
Yeah, sometimes he does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to do a mandate like that, it's like I understand you could be more creative and do something, but I mean, if you're just gonna just look at it in a reality sense, like if you were a guy that was fighting crime, every once in a while you're gonna have to punch someone's lights out. You're just gonna have to.
All right, so maybe he can't punch, but my question is, can he kick?
Oh, that's better. I'm sure he'll be kicking the shit out of everybody.
Well, he did kick, and he did kick Ant-Man in Civil War.
Yeah, he was knocking people down, and
he was swinging into people and kicking them. Yeah.
Which is effective.
So what's the fucking difference?
I don't know.
That's such dumb semantics.
It really is.
God.
I think they're overthinking it. Well, look, the last thing is we're going to have the Tom Holland Spider-Man for a while. Also in that interview, he revealed that he's been contracted for 3 solo Spider-Man movies and 3 Marvel movies. So 6 movies. So that's the most anybody's played Spider-Man so far. Civil War is one of the 3 Marvel movies. I got to imagine he's going to show up in Avengers Infinity War. What about that third one? Where do you guys think would be fun to see Spider-Man? And I think it would be fun in another character's movie.
It'd be fun, but don't forget there's 2 Avengers Infinity Wars.
That's true. Does he have to be in both of them? I don't want him to waste that last one on the other Avengers. Like maybe the Doctor Strange sequel, because they're kind of like buddies in the comics.
If it works out, Robert Downey Jr. had a 4-picture contract to start. He's been in like 7 films.
They'll extend it,
They'll extend it. If he does well, they'll give him a shit ton of money, and that kid ain't gonna say no.
Point. But man, we got
also. Is that the most? Because didn't Samuel L. Jackson have a 9-picture deal?
Well, I mean, in terms of someone playing Spider-Man was the most.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant in the Marvel movie.
And then I mean, and then you got Logan, Hugh Jackman playing 9 times, so you can't break that guy's record. But we had Toby for 3 movies, and this is now you're going to see Holland in 6 different movies as Spider-Man. So this is our Spider-Man as much as Batfleck is going to be our Batman for the next foreseeable future. All right, next bit revolves around the X-Men franchise and how Fox doesn't know what the fuck to do with these X-Men. Word has come out that they are eyeing another whole reboot, sans the Bryan Singer. They've already pushed Deadpool 3 news out. They're greenlighting that. What do you guys think? And then even trying to get James McAvoy, Jennifer Lawrence, Michael Fassbender, and Nicholas Hoult, even though they've fulfilled their 3-picture contract, trying to work them back in. Simon Kinberg is overseeing this direction of the new rebooted X franchise as writer and producer. Bryan Singer will no longer be involved. They got New Mutants with Josh Boone. Deadpool 3 has been greenlit. What do you guys think of the Bryan Singer thing? I think I'm okay with it. I think his well of X-Men shit is run dry.
I think we've seen that era. Yeah. It was good for its time. You need to break people in to this kind of genre where people have powers. And he did a really great job using that reality and kind of toning everything down. But now we're in a different era. Yes. We're in an era where people now expect things to be bigger and more flamboyant and even more crazy and bombastic. Yep. So we can have more fun with it. I don't think we should lose that kind of reality that's there and that kind of the social aspect of it, the social, meaning of it. But I think that we're ready for a little bit more of a colorful. I want to see Wolverine in his fucking yellow and blues.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that it'll be good to see something that focuses on new characters, if nothing else. Like the article said that they want Holt and Lawrence and Fassbender all back.
They're coming back.
I don't think. Yeah, I think that would be a mistake because you have this opportunity to reboot the universe. Do that. Let's focus on some other characters. Let's not keep focusing on Mystique, Charles Beast, and Magneto the whole time. Like, there's other X-Men that are more interesting. I just hope that whatever they do in the next few years, that they don't keep making more Wolverine movies, because we've seen 25 of them, and I don't need any more. So let's see more X-Men that's not Wolverine.
Anthony, should they go the Deadpool, more Deadpool, New Mutants, X-Force, the Gambit movie is going to go back into active development. Here's a bunch of characters we have not seen yet on the screen. Is this going to help?
Yeah, it would help. I think they should also, like Molofsky said, they should focus on some of the X-Men that are still haven't been focused on.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the Wolverine, Magneto, Professor X, Mystique show.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, man. Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men, and he's been fucking had his balls cut off and made a square every single time.
Yeah, almost like cartoony.
Every single goddamn time.
Yeah.
And Cyclops, if you actually like read the comics, is a fucking interesting leader.
He's a great leader. Yeah. That's a good
so
point.
I mean, they have X-Men that they've just cut the balls off of repeatedly, or the vagina off of, or they grabbed them by the vagina. But
mutant. Are we talking about mutant vaginas now? That's great.
Oh shit.
no, there's a ton of X-Men that they can focus on, and like Singer's whole tone, and it, like Rugboy said, it was good. You know, it brought mainstream comics to light in the 2000s, and he had his run. And Days of Future Past was good.
Yeah,
Apocalypse was not good.
No,
but his tone has always been kind of this super serious X-Men sort of tone, and I don't know. X-Men can be fun. They can be like weird family dynamics.
Yeah.
They can be a lot. They can be crazy adventures in space. There's a lot of different ways they can take this, rather than just this serious. Oh, new mutants are an allegory for suppressed individuals in the U.S. Like, it can be much more than that. It can be a lot more fun.
Yeah, especially if they want to keep competing with Marvel, whether they join them or not, because there's rumors about that. But if they want to keep competing with them, going into like space, like you said, or like just taking it off in new directions,
get wacky.
That's going to be the way to do it.
Look, you got to credit, in 2000, this is what was needed to start people getting into superhero movies. You got to credit Singer for giving us the longest running superhero franchise we've seen to date. And now Marvel is quickly going to probably surpass that. But I'm all for a clean slate, man. This is a different world. The audiences want lots more color.
What's funny about that 2000 film is they make that joke. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Yellow and blue spandex.
Yes.
And at the time, you were like, you laughed at that because you were like, no way we're going to ever see yellow and blue spandex. Like, the leather was in, and like, just think how dated leather is now.
Yeah.
And now we're all like, we want to see the colorful
now
costumes.
we're like, we want to see the blue
but just
spandex.
16 years ago, they made a joke about how that would have looked ridiculous.
And I think that's because of Marvel's awesome costume design and how, they've made it work and made it colorful.
Well, I also think that just like fashion, okay, something has to start it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it has to make sense. So what happened was you have like these superhero movies like Superman from 1978 and the Batmans, and they're like, no one would wear that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's going to fight crime wearing a fucking leotard? That doesn't make any sense. That's like shit that's from the circus, you know?
Right.
And it got translated. But when they had these tactical leather suits, and then they're going off from there. Now they're stripping it down and kind of, okay, we're taking a leather suit, but we're still making it tactical.
Combining
and
it,
kind
yes.
Yeah, and we're making it practical. We're not going the opposite route. Now, if we start going back to the spandex and shit like that, that's going to be weird. You always have to keep it, make form follow function. And the fashion, like some people might say, okay, we're tired of seeing black leather suits. Just like in fashion, we're tired of seeing these jeans, so we have to do something to the jeans. Let's rip them up. Let's do something to it. Let's add different pockets. That's what's happening, but it's all coming from a utilitarian.
I hate that you can buy jeans that are already ripped, and that's fucking so stupid. And those jeans are more expensive than the ones without holes. That's
because people get bored of looking at the same shit.
Is going on though? Really? Really?
I saw a girl the other day. I swear to God, like half of her thigh on her jeans was just completely gone.
And she bought it like that, probably.
Yeah. It was like sewn, so you could tell that she bought it like that.
But was the thigh worth looking at?
Was it?
Well, it was. So I mean,
all right.
That's all that matters.
You could just buy a pre-made Harley Quinn costume with the rips and holes and everything.
But can you think about how ridiculous like wearing an all leather costume would be if you're actually in combat? Like that's
those
limited mobility.
You'd be sweating your balls off in that fucking thing too. I'm like, you're not riding
But at that time, you were like,
yes. Yes.
I guess this is the only way to do it.
They're taking it
But
seriously.
you can see in Daredevil where he starts out in this kind of like yoga pants,
Right.
and or whatever he's wearing.
I love the black suit.
And then he slowly kind of starts putting more and more armor on, but he's still getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
So he needs to do something more, even though he knows it's going to sacrifice some mobility.
But I love that they are like, let's make this lighter. Can you make this thinner? Like they dealt with that, in that world.
Well, even modern Marvel had that happen where they did Cap, and he was wearing the all leather, like kind of leathery, like armor costume in World War in First Avenger. And then they went full comic in Avengers, and they were like, "Wait, this looks absolutely."
It is,
and now they scaled it back.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare his costume in the Avengers to like the later movies, it looks like a Halloween costume a little bit now.
Right.
We just figured out how to make good costumes.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
Like I think one of the harbingers of it was 1989 Batman, where they did a rubber suit, and it was like, okay, that's getting there. It's not there, but it's getting there. But then Watchmen comes out. And those suits were like Batman to the nth degree. They were like really well thought out and really well designed. And then now you got Zack Snyder, whose costumes always look fucking amazing. And actually, that's the only thing that Zack Snyder's doing.
But Watchmen was also meant to be like, what would it look like in real life anyway? So they were just, it was already set in the source material.
Absolutely.
This is a little bit, you know what? It was also really interesting regarding Spider-Man. I was at another podcast last night with the mighty Marvel geeks, and these guys are really into theme parks and Universal and Disney. And I did not think about the rights, even though Disney owns Marvel, owns all the rights to Marvel, they don't own the rights to certain characters to build a theme park at Disney. A lot of that is owned by Universal. So that also includes the rights to what the costume looks like, which explains why even Marvel can't give me what I want, which is just do the Spider-Man costume like it is in the comic book. The limitation they have is the rights to that are at the Universal theme park of Spider-Man.
The Spider-Man one is pretty hard to screw up.
It is, but they can't do it. They have to make it different. They have to design all this shit different. They can't use the vanilla costumes because those rights belong with Universal for the theme parks. Like, I didn't even think about theme park licensing and rights. It's a whole other thing.
Hey, man, whenever they can get you by the balls.
And both sides are looking for a loophole because Disney wants to put their own Marvel. They can't make any Marvel rides at Disney, and they have all the space. And Universal has to keep making shitty Marvel rides to hold on to the rights. Both sides are kind of looking for a loophole to figure this out. So I thought that was interesting. Just because it didn't occur to me. Okay, last thing in movies for you monster fans out there, we got a pretty cool image of King Kong from Kong Skull Island. Directed by Jordan Voight Roberts.
Did you read the article, Imran?
I did. I looked at the picture. Why don't you fill us in on the article?
I read the article as well. Rugs.
Okay, yeah. Well, basically, the guy who making this movie has all of these like aesthetic reasons for trying to kind of update Kong and make him different from the
Peter
what's his
Jackson.
name? Peter Jackson.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
If you look at the original 1933 Kong, he's not a silverback gorilla. He's kind of like this new kind of thing, and it stands upright and is more like a amalgam of all different kinds of apes. They're sticking to that. So there is a structural integrity that's like the original, thing made by Ray Harryhausen. The
original maquette puppet thing, whatever it was. I
don't want to say the word puppet. But
you can say it. You can say it. Nobody else can say it.
Like Kong,
what's up, my puppet?
He's on an armature. He's not a felty.
I like a lot of what director Voight Roberts is saying in this article. He says a big part of our Kong was I wanted to make it something that gave the impression that he was a lonely god. He was a morose figure lumbering around this island and an iconic shape. Anthony, what do you think of the look of this?
If you compare this look, they did a side-by-side on Birth Movie's Death.
Yeah.
In the comments that Jordan Voight Roberts actually put on his Twitter.
Oh, wow.
Of this Kong and the 1933 Kong, it's very similar.
That's cool.
He doesn't have a huge forehead. He's got the big eyebrows, like the bulging eyebrows. The nose is it's very, very similar.
Nice.
I like it. I mean, I didn't mind the Peter Jackson King Kong design. I didn't mind that it was a real, like, kind of ape.
Yeah.
But this one, I like that this one's a little different and more of an homage to 1933. I also like that this doesn't sound like it's going to be like a Beauty and the Beast story. what it's been every fucking
It's always
time.
Kong falls in love with a tiny blonde girl. What does he see in the tiny blonde girl? I don't get it.
Right. It's like the white woman tames.
Oh
the
my
fucking
God,
ape.
yes.
Like fucking that, dude. Like that's an old trope. So I like this. I'm excited. I'm a big Godzilla fan, so I'm excited. I'm excited about this whole fucking shared universe shit. So
Speaking of that, I also love what he says regarding Godzilla. He's like, we're also fundamentally not playing the same
takes
game
a huge shot at
that
movie.
Gareth Edwards' Godzilla did and most monster movies do, which I'm sort of sick of the notion that a monster movie needs to wait an hour and 40 minutes until the creature shows up. Amen to that. Kong traditionally does not show up in these movies until very, very late, and a monster traditionally does not show up until very, very late in a monster movie. So a lot of these movies tend to have the structure that's a bit of a slow burn. Something about this movie made me want to reject that and play a very, very different game. Molofsky, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't have many thoughts. I've never seen
Not
a
a
King
big-
Kong movie. I'm
Really?
not big on the big monsters. I think it looks like a monkey. It's good.
It's not a monkey, it's an ape.
Yeah, they're different.
I got yelled at already, but last time.
That was by me. Monkeys
Yes,
and apes are not the same.
No,
Probably.
I'm excited for the shared universe. It looks like this guy is definitely bringing the heat with everybody's complaints of the
Let me
Godzilla.
comment though on that comment he made.
Yeah.
I am excited for it, and I'm like a little cautious because I'm excited because I want to see a new way of introducing a monster movie and like having it not be held off towards the end, because that is like kind of the traditional way to do it. But the reason that's a traditional way of doing it is because it works.
Yeah.
Once you introduce the monster early on, it's hard to build steam off of that.
Oh, it's very interesting.
Once you introduce the monster, that movie kicks into fucking high gear.
You got to keep going and going
Yeah,
and
you gotta
going.
keep going and going. I'm excited to see a different way of doing it too.
I don't necessarily believe that because Pacific Rim did it the whole movie. It was like monsters beginning, monsters at the end. They used the same Jaeger to like they didn't really upgrade it or really do anything crazy to I mean, they give him a sword, but like other than that, it's how you make the movie. It's like just saying like if you have Spider-Man and only the end of the movie, it's good. Like you got Spider-Man throughout the whole movie and it's still good, but it's how you do it.
can be
And
done.
I think that people are not that creative when it comes to monster movies.
I mean, look at Jurassic Park. You know, they have the dinosaurs for you right there from the start.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, but they don't introduce the T-Rex till
the big
in the
reveal at
very
the end.
in the middle, and then that
They always keep something. They always have to. You have to keep something in the tank, something hidden that you're going to reveal. But what it is depending on how the movie's written and what the story is.
I'm going to disagree with myself in this next comment.
What? Okay.
The 1933 Kong actually introduces Kong like in the middle.
Oh.
And I don't know if you remember, but there's 3 Kong monster fights in that movie.
Oh, wow.
Plus the Empire State Building.
Well, I mean,
that movie is actually pretty rewatchable.
This is like, this is kind of almost before a formula where they're figuring out the formula in the 30s.
I'm excited to see someone do it different.
Yeah.
See someone try to do it a little different than the way it's done in the past.
You got to kind of like, and I think this really connects to Doctor Strange also, is formula works for a reason, and you got to kind of play in and out of the formula structure to keep it fresh. Like, ideally, if you can put the best of both worlds together, then you have succeeded. But that's
I think the
hard.
way to do it is you got to have the monster have some sort of personality. And which it sounds like they're going to try to do. Like if it's just Alien,
right?
Like an Alien, like if it's the monster just killing people over and over and over, then the monster really has no personality.
You need to see like little character quirks and behavior things
like,
to connect to.
Even like in Godzilla, like you could see like in his eyes in that movie, like he kind of was indifferent to humans and he was like angry at times and he was like kind of tired.
Yeah,
like just little things like that.
Some emotion. Yeah. All right. No, I'm excited for the shared universe. I think it's going to be solid. All right. Let's move on to TV. Big news on the DC side. Ladies and gentlemen, we didn't think it was going to happen, but Young Justice Season 3 is happening.
Oh, shit.
And Molofsky's really excited after the whole... Anthony, this was our favorite show.
I think Molofsky nutted all over himself.
Oh my god! I
didn't
have a geek boner when that happened. I had a nerdgasm when that happened.
Terrific.
Clean yourself up there. So the storyline being, we had 2 seasons of this awesome show. It got canceled. Then Molofsky, you get hooked up with Greg Weisman. You guys interview him. Thanks to you, we got to interview Greg Weisman, who produced Young Justice and Gargoyles and a bunch of other things. You can check that out, episode 46. of the Jock and Nerd podcast, and we start to hear about Binge Young Justice Netflix campaign. And Greg Wiseman is suggesting people watch this over and over again to show that there's interest. And it only took about a year, and it worked. David, I'm going to let you take it first. What are your feelings on it?
I am so happy about this. Season 2 ends on a pretty nice cliffhanger that you could tell that they had so many plans for season 3. And like having talked to Greg, he knows what they want to do. And it's just like clearly from some of the other articles I've read, this has actually been going on for a few months. So they've definitely been developing it for a while, but the thing that I'm most interested in is that they haven't revealed how it's going to be released. They haven't said whether it's going to be on Cartoon Network again, whether it's coming straight to Netflix, or what. And so I think that's going to be a really interesting aspect of it. Honestly, I'm just happy to see the characters again. I don't even care how they come back. I just want them back.
Anthony, this is one of the most well-written character animated shows that's been out there, a fan favorite. What do you think about this, and what do you think they should do it all on Netflix instead of Cartoon Network?
I'm obviously very happy about this. I love Young Justice as well. I thought it was one of the most thoughtful, well-written shows. The dialogue was great. Acting was great. I like that it was characters that don't necessarily get the spotlight. And it left, like Molofsky said, we were fucking going to see Darkseid.
Yeah.
Darkseid, however the fuck you say it.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I would, I'm done with it. Why put this on Cartoon Network? The show was...
Yes.
The reason it was taken off of Cartoon Network was because they wanted to cater more towards kids and
not going to sell toys this time around. If that's your mark, then
they should stop worrying about toys.
I know.
Start worrying about. Let's set up a new tentpole.
Right.
Let's set up a new thing that's going to have a fan base that they could actually parlay into a franchise.
Let's put this on a platform that appreciates it.
And I think
if they put it on Netflix, I think
clearly.
there's even a chance of a season 4 if they put it on Netflix.
They could have a whole new life on Netflix. They could have many seasons.
It doesn't necessarily need to be Netflix. It just needs to be on something that we'll appreciate for what it is and respects the show. It could be Hulu. It could be fucking anything. I don't care. Just put it
on all AT&T phones.
Yeah, it could be a fucking Rugboy's asshole. I don't care where you're projecting.
AT&T has to buy Rugboy's asshole like they bought Time Warner, so they can send them the stream there. Rugs, what do you think about? You like Young Justice, right? What are your thoughts on the?
I like him young.
Oh shit!
I like.
I love the show. It's great. I think that they're blundering with their Trinity and their A-list shit.
Yeah.
And all of these sidekicks and stuff seem to have a following, and people actually, like little kids, watch that freaking that Teen Titans, that garbage. But
it's very popular.
It's very popular. So they're trying to transition some of these kids as they get older to a new tentpole, and now they could probably do it. I don't know.
DC television is probably one of its strongest things they got.
I'm glad
going
it's
right
back.
now.
I love the show. I'm going to watch the shit out of it. So
and I got to go back and rewatch all the other stuff to remember what the fuck happened.
I just told you.
Oh, that's true. We're looking for Darkseid. Thanks for saving me several hours. Let's move on to Marvel. Some exciting Marvel news over on Netflix. Elodie Young confirmed returning as Elektra in The Defenders, along with everybody else, all the supporting cast.
So she's not dead.
She's not. Well, we knew she wasn't dead. Nobody dies in these things. She's a series regular, though.
We talked about this last time, dude.
No, but Elodie Young wasn't in the names. Everybody else was. It wasn't officially confirmed.
I just assumed she would be back.
Right?
Anyways.
Yeah.
Honestly, I did too.
Yeah. But I'm liking where this is going, and I still want to know who Sigourney Weaver is playing. Who is the villain?
Well, there's rumors that the big group villain is going to be the Hand, so maybe she'll be involved somewhere with that.
She'll be the thumb.
She'll be the thumb. She'll be the little pinky toe. Could they? What if they made her like a mystical, magical villain to tie in some of the shit that's going on in like Doctor Strange and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Iron Fist?
That she's Hela,
or like the who is it? The lady demon, lady queen. So there's some lady viper. I forget what it is, but it'd be interesting to think if she's a supernatural villain.
The thing about being a supernatural villain is that shit costs money.
Oh, that's true.
To produce.
That's true. They already got all these fuckers in this one. They got to pay for that.
If you wanted to go supernatural, I want to see I want to see Doctor Strange. I don't want to see like low budget. I don't want to see Arrow magic. I want to see Doctor Strange magic.
Yeah, and that's gonna cost a bit of money. Speaking of other characters,
wait. Have they confirmed that she's definitely not going to be playing Zool then? Because that's exactly who I thought she was going to be.
Zool from Ghostbusters. Oh boy!
Oh shit!
Let's show this bitch how we do things downtown. That's my favorite line. Yes, this man has no dick. Speaking of other Marvel characters that may or may not graduate, Shield's Gabriel Luna has done a couple interviews at comicbook.com pretty much saying that there is a path for this character to make it to Netflix.
Oh shit.
He says it's been talked about. There's definitely deals in place for that potential. I just take it one day at a time. I have so much fun now. I think this is actually perfect. I kind of see, like, if you think about the Marvel shows as like school, it's like a school for MCU. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like fucking preschool, kindergarten. And then the Netflix, you graduate to like grammar school, high school. And then those characters should graduate to the movies. Now, like Doctor Strange ain't coming down to the Netflix. But I think Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has finally given us a character that can actually make it on the graduated next step of Netflix.
Yeah, but then it'll be off S.H.I.E.L.D. and no one's going to watch that anymore.
Well, then, I mean, this may be the last season of S.H.I.E.L.D. anyways.
Good. Okay.
Anthony, you haven't caught up on, have you caught up on any S.H.I.E.L.D. yet? I didn't want to spoil it, but...
You can spoil it. I haven't seen it. I've only seen 2 episodes.
Dude, in the season 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you see, they tease Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider on the bike.
Oh, nice.
This is how he gets his powers. So... all these Ghost Riders exist.
I think it'd be great to see him on Netflix, though, because once you start opening that supernatural stuff up on Netflix, you could get Blade in there. You could get some more like the darker characters up on the Netflix stuff, and just keep going from there.
I don't think he should have his own show. I think he should just pop in on Netflix.
That could work. He also mentioned the Midnight Suns run, which was like a crazy team you could do with like Doctor Strange, Punisher, Blade, Morbius.
Moon Knight.
Yeah, Morbius would be crazy.
Moon Knight is the guy that I really want to see on Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be a good one because
and I don't know much about Moon Knight, but what I know seems real fucking interesting.
And it is like it's kind of mystical, mystic stuff, but kind of grounded too in terms of like schizophrenia.
I just like the schizophrenia aspect.
Yeah. But there's like Egyptian gods, in his head.
He's an Egyptian god.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. But then, dude, put them all together, get Blade on there, put Ghost Rider in there. The possibilities are limitless. So that's exciting. Hopefully that happens. That's it for the news, everybody.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Pardon the interruption. I have some news which I believe you will find most interesting.
Would you like to hear the latest in Marvel television, film, video games, and comic books? Or are you looking for some ideas on what to pick up on New Comic Book Day? Well, join Mike and Eric on Mighty Marvel Geeks every Saturday night on Sorcerer Radio and every Sunday on the Weeby Geeks Network for all things Marvel.
There is a matter that requires your attention.
Mighty Marvel Geeks. Assemble.
All wrapped up here, sir. Will there be anything else?
Hey, my name is Paul, and I am not an animal expert.
Hey, my name's Paul, too, and I'm also not an animal expert.
And together we do a podcast about animals called Varmints.
Yeah, each week we pick an animal, do a bunch of research on it, and bring you some interesting facts about that animal.
But we don't stop there. We talk about that animal in movies, TV, and other pop culture.
And we talk about whether or not that animal would make a tasty dish, and how intelligent we think that animal would be on a scale of 1 to 10.
It's exactly like one of those fancy PBS nature documentaries.
But completely different in every way.
New episodes go live every Thursday on BlazingCaribouStudios.com. Come listen to the Varmints podcast and become an animal expert today.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
All right, listener, this is a part of the show where we like to talk about the fan club we have over at jockandnerd.com/Patreon. But since we got David Molofsky here as a guest, he's a friend of the show. He's a listener. He is also a supporter, a fan club member, David, and we thank you so much for that, first of all.
Yeah, dude.
I love being on the Patreon.
Give me a testimonial. What is it like on our to join the fan club at jockandnerd.com/Patreon?
Big a waste of money ever.
That's not what I wanted the listener to hear.
I have to say, ever since you added in the new RSS feed for the podcast, it's just like having like an extra Jock and Nerd podcast in my pocket.
That's awesome.
Love that. It's like having like, little bite-sized episodes every few days, because I'm the kind of person, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners are, who listens to a shit ton of podcasts, and when I run out of them, I just have to wait until like, Monday or Tuesday until I have a new one. This way, you get like a little, little thing to tide you over when you need it.
That's great. Oh, that's great to hear. So, listener, what he's talking about is you support us. It's as low as $1 a month, and it helps us cover the costs. You get an RSS link that you can put in any podcast app, and you have a little exclusive Jock and Nerd fan club exclusive feed where we post our instant reactions. We post full shows, post shows with people, little tidbits here and there, stuff we record in the middle that I cut out that's usually funny. I'll throw it up on there, experimental weird things maybe, of where I'm like on acid and I'm recording a podcast, and sometimes that'll go up maybe if I remember, if the recorder doesn't melt.
Did that actually happen?
No, it didn't.
There was one time where he sent me some audio and he goes, I just want to make sure this is good because I'm going to send it to you right now. I'm really stoned.
That's one of those things where like, this may be a good idea, but I need to think about it tomorrow after.
I need sober ears to listen to this.
And it was a good idea. It wasn't a mind-blowing idea. It was just an idea.
I thought it was the most mind-blowing shit ever.
And speaking of mind-blowing shit, we're going to get into our Doctor Strange review. I got a little piece of audio to get us in the mood.
You think you know how the world works? You think that this material universe is all there is? But what if I told you the reality you know is one of many?
This doesn't make any sense.
Not everything has to, Doctor Strange.
Not everything has to. And if you're a first-time listener, we're always full spoiler here, so I'm going to give you this.
Let's spoil some shit, Batman.
All right, all the disclaimers out of the way. We are now going to review Marvel's latest entry into the MCU, the 14th movie, the second in Phase 3, Doctor Strange. The character initially created by artist and character conceptualist Steve Ditko, the reclusive Steve Ditko, way back in 1963. And what's funny is this man's creation has a movie, and you can't even get him for an interview to talk about what he thinks about that movie. He ain't talking to anybody.
Fuck everyone.
Yeah, Ditko has the right idea, I think, after last Tuesday now. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Let's start where we usually do with these things, with a couple of numbers. Box office numbers. The movie opened up 85 million domestic opening weekend. And currently worldwide, it's about 339.
Higher, actually.
Oh, shit. It's 365 now as of November 11th. Not too shabby for this movie. And it did good in the global box office. No surprise, as it did well in China, which all movies need to do these days to be considered somewhat of a success. 90% Rotten Tomato score, 72% Metacritic score. Metacritic a little more discerning, I guess. But look, guys, let's do it this way. I want to know, what is your relationship to the character Doctor Strange, and then give us your overall opening thoughts on the movie. David, you're the guest. How about we start with you?
Okay, I've never really read much Doctor Strange comics, maybe one or two. Most of my knowledge of the character comes from his appearances in the 90s Spider-Man show, and also the animated movie that came out like 4 or 5 years back.
Okay, yeah.
But I kind of liked that because there's very few comic characters that I go into a movie and I don't know a lot about. So this was a really fun experience for me, just to go in and like actually be learning about a superhero character for the first time in like
scratch,
10 years. Yeah, I loved the movie. I saw it twice within a week. I think I saw it twice before it even came out in the States.
Wow. Wow. All right. Pretty good. Ruggs, what are your opening thoughts, and what's your what do you know about the Strange?
Well, I used to read Spider-Man back in the 80s, and he was in it constantly. And, Daredevil, he's around with that, and the Avengers, he's in there. So I know him as an ancillary character that is a supporting role in most of the comic books. And they usually, it's Marvel. They keep things tight over there. Yep. So you do get a very good idea about Doctor Strange and what he can do. I never liked this. This is just my problem. I never liked anybody with a mustache when I was a kid.
Did somebody touch you?
Or if they had gray hair on the sides.
You,
So I hated
you were on the right path, buddy.
I
you still can't trust people with either of those qualities.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But still.
So I just, something about when you're growing up, I think that when you're growing up in a Catholic environment and you see like the image of the devil has like a mustache and a goatee, you just, anything that has that, you automatically like, I don't like him.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, I think that's what it is. I can't really explain, trying to, I can't really do it. But so I never liked Doctor Strange, but as I got older and I was like, okay, now I have a mustache and I have fucking facial hair. I'm like, maybe I could start to appreciate him. And then when I got the gray hair on my balls, I really,
it's over. It's all over.
No, so I couldn't, anyway, and I didn't like his outfit. Like he had like leotard leggings on.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was like, this is a weird
It was
thing.
a
And I
very-
remember that there was a Doctor Strange movie that came out in like
70.
the 90s.
Oh no,
too.
in 78 there was like a.
There was also like
There's
a
another one.
really low budget Doctor Strange that came out, and I saw that. I'm like, this is stupid. This is like terrible.
It's a hard character. Anthony, what have you got?
What, did we get Rugboy's thought on the movie?
Oh no,
No, we didn't. He just didn't want to
get to the movie then.
The movie was okay.
There you go.
You can move on now.
All right. Yeah, I didn't have much of a relationship with Doctor Strange. The only relationship I had with him was through the recent run by Hickman on New Avengers, the Illuminati.
Yes.
And I liked Doctor Strange from there. He always seemed, the Illuminati's him and Mr. Fantastic and Iron Man and so on and so forth. All these super powerful people that have a ton of influence. And everyone would speak logically, and he would be speaking in like just a different way. Like everyone would be speaking English, and he'd be speaking like Chinese. Like it's just like not literally, but just he's speaking in a different way. He's speaking about things from a different perspective, which is something that like was kind of interesting to me. I've never really been into magic.
Yeah.
Like I don't like Harry Potter at all.
Yeah.
So like the magic aspect has never been really appealing to me. His costume as a kid was like, that's not cool at all. As an adult, I do like kind of like the pop collar look. I think that's very regal. So my relationship with him is I don't know that much about him, but I find him interesting as I got older. As far as the movie, I've seen it twice. The only reason I saw it twice is the first time I fell asleep midway through.
No fault of the movie, I hope.
No fault of the movie. It was because I was legitimately tired from celebrating Cubs' victory in the World Series.
Yep.
Shout out to the 2016 Chicago Cubs.
That started. That really started the end of the world. Once that happened, all bets were off. Anything.
Well, and I know they're all listening to this podcast.
Of course they are.
So I wanted to give them a shout out.
What's up, Cubs?
Yeah, what's up, Cubs? Yeah, that's how you would say that.
Yay, sports!
Yay, sports! Hey, video games are going to take over those.
Hey, well,
you better find a new line of work according to Imran.
I think that's
Anyways,
Donald Trump's 100-day plan right there.
This movie was good. It was very solid. Great visuals. On the Marvel spectrum, I'd have it like right in the middle, or maybe a little bit above the middle of 14 movies.
Okay, yeah. I mean, my relationship to character is similar to Rugboy's. I was introduced to him reading Spider-Man comic books, but even then, he was very weird. Like, I never understood a lot of what he was saying, a lot of the words and the spells. Very weird character. This is a character Steve Ditko almost purposely created to be impossible to translate to the big screen. However, Marvel pretty much nailed it. Like, this is about as perfect of a Doctor Strange movie you could do without it being way too heavy into the mythology, but staying trippy enough. So overall, I love the movie. Lots of good things, but I agree with Ruggs. There's something in me I could never completely connect with this character, and for that reason, I think with Anthony, I'll put it somewhere in the middle. But what they accomplished with this to bring magic into the mainstream and to pull a Doctor Strange movie off, that was almost perfectly done, because it's a very hard concept and character to translate to the screen.
Okay.
Where do you guys want to start? The cast? You want to talk about what you liked, what we didn't like?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I thought Cumberbatch fucking killed it. I thought he was very good.
I
I think he did okay. I always wanted to see Johnny Depp in this role. That was my dream cast because he's eccentric and he's kind of like aloof and he's cool. Like Benedict Cumberbatch is not cool. Like he doesn't exude cool. You want like somebody who's in magic is like kind of have like a goth feeling or even something kind of more like like just a weird, like a weirdo. And I think
like
maybe it's part of the yeah, it's kind of like there's a transformation that he goes through that from being like this doctor to being this weird guy, which I understand. But now after he becomes Doctor Strange, he never goes back to being that other guy. So you want the guy who's Doctor Strange to kind of embody that coolness. You understand what I'm saying?
I kind of get it. I wonder if Depp would. I don't know if he would play along with the Marvel Studios.
Well, they originally wanted Joaquin Phoenix. They almost had him.
I think Cumberbatch is a better pick than Joaquin.
They almost had Joaquin, but I think the thing is he didn't want to do the multi-picture thing.
That's the other thing. But I mean, they got Depp locked in for how many goddamn Pirates of the Caribbean and all this other crap. It could have been. I wonder if he even wants to do a superhero movie. He's probably just like, I'm not doing this.
I think the reason they didn't choose him is because he's about the same age as Robert Downey Jr. and they're probably looking for young blood to when the old guard goes out.
I understand it, but someone that's more kind of that has that quality.
Fair enough, but I think that he also nailed the arrogance perfectly.
Yeah,
the pure arrogance of the character.
I understand that. Yeah.
Who else, Molofsky, who else stood out in this cast to you?
I actually really like Tilda Swinton.
Yeah?
I've not liked her in anything since I think I first saw her in the Narnia movies. I just think she has a weird looking face and like I just can't buy her in anything. But in this, I thought
works.
she really worked it. One of my favorite scenes is just the look on her face when she's showing him that book of like the different body maps.
Yeah.
And she's just like, she looks like his happy little kid and it's just like she's totally selling it.
She's can't
I
wait
gotta chime in here.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton, so that character, the Ancient One, got a lot of flack. Ton of flack.
Yeah.
For race switching. So disregarding all that, Tilda Swinton fucking stole the show, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She was by far, I think, the best and made the film what it was. Because without her selling it the way she did, and without her being this like, she felt like fucking omnipresent, like in the most calm motherfucker ever.
Yeah, and badass.
Still super charismatic and badass, and like just like her facial expressions, like when she's like, "How did you learn?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Practice and time" or whatever, and she just makes a facial expression like, "There you go."
Yeah.
And then she just sells it. And like when she's out of body and like experiencing the world for the last time, like
great.
All that stuff could have been super fucking cheesy.
Yeah.
She kills that movie.
And I also think that it would have been a lot cheesier if they had gone with, whatever the original, I can't remember the race actually.
They make a nod to it.
He thinks it's the other guy.
It's a Tibetan. It's supposed to be a Tibetan man.
If they had gone with that old Tibetan man, it would have felt so heavy-handed and so like just like that scene where she's dying would have just like completely fallen flat.
Plus, it would not have made $44 million in China. That's for fucking sure.
Also, like her physical presence, like she looks weird.
Yeah,
she has the bald head. And this is even like just a little thing, but she's tall.
Yeah.
She's as tall as Doctor Strange and Baron Mordo. Like she's like she can stand next to them and like still physically be there. Like she's not this little woman. She's like a tall, weird looking woman that like you buy as this fucking sorceress. She sells it, man. She makes the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm really sad she's dead.
From that first scene, you're really sucked in, and you believe that she has that power. Like there's never a moment where you think that they're actually going to overpower her. You're totally right there. The fact that she's going to win that first fight.
I love that opening scene too, starting with the villain and the mentor, and you don't know what the fuck's going on. And I watched the movie. I saw the movie twice, paid for it once. On the second watch, I noticed because when I initially saw it and they start doing the trippy folding walls, I was like, wait, are other people seeing this? What the fuck? What are people seeing? And then I watched it again. I was like, oh, they're in the. She puts them in the mirror world, and then it's a great opening action scene. Also, the caliber of her talent is so good that she's the one that explains magic to us, to the audience, to Strange, and you just buy it. You get it. You're like, yeah.
Well, do you get it really?
She said it's harnessing energies. Like there's different energies, just the same way.
Harnessing energies from different universes.
From different universes, and
it's not actually magic.
Yeah. So there's kind of
yeah, but I think that was. This is what I think. The movie. Who cares about the bad guy? Who cares about that the guy? You know, what Mads Mikkelsen or whatever his name is. No one gives a shit about that. The whole movie where it hangs is where Doctor Strange, who is an arrogant fuck, has to now drop all of these material and, you know, tangible things that he's built his whole life on to allow himself to be a magician or a wizard or whatever you want to fucking call it, a sorcerer. And I think that was abbreviated too much and was made very light of. And you have a chance to establish what magic is in the Marvel universe, and they kind of just glossed over it with a lot of like vagaries. And I think that to me, I was expecting more, I guess. But
I kind of disagree a little bit. I think they did their best to explain, because if you're just saying it's magic, then like, let's just end this movie right now. Like this whole thing can be whatever. But they put a lot of rules on it, which I think helped. And I think they downplayed the magic and made it more. They're just pulling things from different universes. This is really just energies from different universes. And they like the sling ring was like, oh, that's how they're able to travel through time like this and all that stuff. Like, I think the rules really helped make the magic understandable and digestible for an audience.
That was very important for them to set up.
Like, what are you talking about? I think the movie also, it hinges on that moment when she's making that speech and she's like, you have to realize it's not about you. Like, that's the secret.
Yeah.
And like, for me, it worked because she sells it great. And I agree with you, Rugboy. I didn't think Benedict Cumberbatch was amazing, but I do see in that moment him like finally changing and being like, oh yeah, like it's really not about me anymore. It's more than that. And that whole time prior to that, he's been like using the magic pretty selfishly.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, I feel like even as a character, he's a dick when he's a doctor, and he's kind of like a dick and makes his own rules when he's a sorcerer.
That's once you're a dick, you're always a dick. Like that part didn't change. Some of that felt a little bit rushed. I see what you're saying, but they were able to give him not only an origin but a full adventure. And I also got to mention, we saw this in 3D, dude. The 3D really helped sell the magic. It made so much sense.
No, I think the effects of the magic were great. And I think that even the way that they kind of tried to break it down and make it into a technology rather than some random stuff was cool. I just think that there was as a component of, like, in the Matrix, this is a good parallel. The Matrix, Neo has to go through a lot of stuff to kind of even start to understand how to bend the world around him. And it just seems like this is even more crazy because there's not the convention of being jacked into a machine and the coding and all this other stuff.
Just pulled this out of the air.
Yeah, he has to now all of a sudden see with his third eye. What the fuck is that? Like, how do you even do that?
That's a penis.
That's not an eye.
Oh, shit.
So there's a component missing to me.
I don't know. I felt like he kind of worked pretty hard at it. I mean, you saw him like, working with going through the motions, and he even has that scene where he goes like, how do I get from here to there?
He's frustrated.
And he does actually work hard at getting to the point to be able to doing the magic. I mean, it's literally becomes a life or death situation before he's even able to do it.
They tried to explain that with him just being like this genius surgeon.
Photographic memory.
He like a photographic memory, and the fact that like,
and that's a throwaway line too.
Yeah. He's just a crazy studier, so he's studying even when he's sleeping.
Yeah, you see that he's studying when he's absorbing all his information. But I always, the training scenes in superhero origin movies are always the most fun. And I love like when he was the whole Beyonce thing where he's Wong is listening. Wong does know who Beyonce is, and Steven's just coming in portals.
Can I just address Rugboy's point real quick?
Yeah,
I think I do see his point in that it is rushed, because I think also that's the problem with an origin story in general.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is an origin story that's under 2 hours.
Yes.
Is they rushed.
They could have used maybe 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes.
I feel like that I've seen a lot of these, kung fu movies, right?
Yep.
And it's very much along the same lines of a kung fu journey where a guy has to go to a master and learn from the master, and he has to like unlearn everything that he knows. And I've seen many movies where they tackle it much better, the hero's journey and transformation better. So, because it's a great thing. Like,
you think they were playing it safe a little bit then?
Iron Man had the same journey.
Yeah.
He's a fucking guy. He's an asshole. He still continues to be an asshole, but now he's got a suit of armor and he's pointing his assholeness in a different direction. He's aiming it, for good. And I understand that, but I feel like that Doctor Strange being that mystical thing, he has to kind of transform even more.
Rugs, would you almost compare it to sort of one of the failures, I think, in Green Lantern? I was going to bring this up later, but that the training sequence in Green Lantern is almost the same. Like, he kind of just, like, levels up immediately, and he knows exactly how to use the ring. There's no, difficulty.
It's very conventional in that way. It's like along those rails that Marvel makes all their movies, that formula.
They could have addressed some of this easily with a subtitle, because I've heard Derrickson tell him that because I was like, how long was he training? When does this movie take place?
Yeah.
And you don't get this in the movie, but he has said that he trains for about a year. So the movie starts a year ago, ends up now, but had they just put maybe 1 year ago in the beginning.
But I really think that this is strange. I mean, pardon the pun, but like, you don't really sense that. You think that everything's happening one after the other. The convenience of him coming along at the same time that these guys are doing this bad shit.
Because Caecilius just shows up at one point, like while he's still training, maybe, or he's at the end. You don't know, and then Caecilius is just there.
And then the question becomes, why did Caecilius wait so long before implementing his plan? And like,
what's he waiting for?
There are clues to when it's set, but it's all kind of contradictory. Like, there's the Avengers Tower, so it must be after 2012.
Yes.
And then there's the throwaway line about the guy in the suit during his accident.
Yeah,
that's like,
it's ironic that this movie talks about time as being an enemy.
Yeah.
When they do a very poor job, and I agree with all you guys in terms of relating to the audience how much time has passed. And also, not only with the training for Doctor Strange, but in this time, they should have been at least a scene or two where they're cutting to Caecilius, like
doing
trying these spells and failing, maybe.
Yeah.
And like, because otherwise, he's had all this time, and he's just, was he waiting? Like, what is he doing?
Yeah, that's another.
Did he need all the ingredients for the magic potion? Like, what's up?
Yeah, what is he doing?
Yeah, there should have been something that was keeping him from enacting his plan.
I mean,
right.
I think the easiest way to explain the timeline would have been when he comes back to the nurse, and if she had just been like, Steven, it's been 5 years. What the fuck have you been like?
I think there was a mention, and I don't think it was enough of time either. I think it was like 5 months.
Yeah,
I didn't catch it at all, so it failed to make.
She should have been a little bit more like, "Hey, where have you been, and why are you wearing that? What the hell's going on?"
Well, she did say that, but it made it seem like it's been 2 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of? I thought, like, as part of stuff I loved, the production design on this movie, the way the spells were designed, the way the Sanctum Sanctorum. Amazing. You can see the influence of Steve Ditko, who was also influenced by like Salvador Dali, M.C. Escher, Magritte. You see the surrealist art and psychedelia in the movie. I really appreciated that all that. It looked fucking great.
Yeah, I mean this is probably the only time that they could have done it. Like, the technology's finally caught up.
Yeah.
Where they could pull off something like this and make it look like a fucking comic book. The visuals is what everyone's going to talk about. And rightfully so, the visuals are fucking crazy. I mean, I remember coming out of the film and being like, "How do they even think of some of this
very
shit?" Like,
creative.
But I think the visuals, though, like, even though we're going to talk about like the visuals and how amazing they are, I don't think they work unless you have as amazing a cast as they had.
Sure.
And although I don't think they all had like amazing roles, like I think Rachel McAdams.
She definitely could have had more.
She sells her part when she's on screen. I think Tilda Swinton's great. I think Chitwell Eofor.
Chiwetel
Ejiofor.
He was
great.
really good.
Yeah.
Benedict I thought was okay, but and even like Wong I found was really good. So like I think the cast for me is what made it what it is. I think that's what Marvel kind of excels in.
Best part about Wong, he's played by a guy named Benedict Wong.
Oh shit, Geek Boner.
Imran's been waiting to say that.
Why so many Wongs?
Wong.
Wong. It's Donald Trump with a lisp. Wong.
Wong.
So we know now there's a lot of sorcerers they were training out there. I thought that was interesting. I was like, what about all those other guys? They're training all these sorcerers. They've been around this whole time. We just maybe haven't seen it.
You brought up Molofsky, you brought up Green Lantern, and that's a good parallel. I think what works for me in this film, where it didn't in Green Lantern, is Mordo, and Mordo has that mentor vibe kind of too with Strange, and they're buddies, and it works. And then you see throughout the film he's like coming disillusioned with the Ancient One, and he finally like breaks by the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Whereas in Green Lantern, Sinestro has that same relationship, but then at the end of the film, all he does is put on a ring.
Out of nowhere, I'm just going to be
evil now. Like I think that was handled a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I wanted to bring up at some point was, how formulaic this film was compared to Green Lantern, because I think that's the epitome of the formulaic superhero film. I think the main difference between Mordo and Sinestro is Sinestro, you feel that evil vibe pretty much from page one. From the get-go, Sinestro is going to turn. With Mordo, I would have believed another film would have gone by before he actually, went evil.
Yeah, his big problem was that the Ancient One was using power from the dark dimension, and that really pissed him the fuck off.
He felt lied to. Yeah. Like it's a great plot.
The best villains are the villains that don't believe they're fucking villains.
Yeah.
So if you're like studying psychology, like Baron Mordo actually thinks that this is a fucking problem. You're not following the rules, and that there's too many goddamn sorcerers breaking the rules on Earth, and he needs to clean that up. Like that's a noble cause for him.
It's great because all three of these characters have shifting morality. There's no black or white. It's all gray morality.
No, Mordo is black and white.
Well, I guess he would be. Yeah, he would be the one. Yeah,
he's actually a black guy. But.
I think the thing is that, like, with them setting up Mordo like this, he has the potential to be a really good villain. And Marvel hasn't had a really good villain yet. Maybe Loki, but all 13 other ones really haven't been well developed at all. And now they have a chance to actually have like a nice, well-developed villain in the next Doctor Strange film. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I before we talk about villains, I just got to ask one thing: was not the cape the greatest fucking thing ever? I did not see that coming. For them to give the cape a personality, I love that. That was fun.
That was my favorite thing. I loved it. It's just like, yes, let's make the cape the hero for once.
Remind me of Spawn a lot, but
but a better looking Spawn, yeah. it was a good.
It reminded me of Aladdin's cape.
Oh, his carpet, the carpet.
It's not his cape, his carpet.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny.
Well, Spawn's cape is ripped off of Doctor Strange. Let me just get that out.
Oh yeah,
it kind of is the big same kind of pointy collar, and then McFarlane just likes to draw capes that would never exist like that in real life. That goes on for miles, and there's so much cloth. You're like, how is this even functional as a cape? But it looks fucking cool when you draw it that way. Also, I love kind of seeing the mirror dimension. Like, I remember when Flash had Mirror Master, I was like, I want to see what it looks like in the mirror dimension. And wow, that's fucking cool. That's a cool mirror dimension look.
And it's an easy way to get away with shit.
You're not harming anyone else. You could do whatever you want in here, but the stakes are still high.
Yeah, then I liked how they kind of completely backtracked on that in the second time he took them into the mirror dimension in the end.
Caecilius figured out a way to
fuck up in the
people, in the outside of the mirror dimension. So speaking of Caecilius, did this villain problem continue with this movie for you guys, or have they taken a little bit of a corrective step?
How much did they even spend with Caecilius? Nothing. Nothing.
I'll say that Caecilius had potential. Like when he's locked up in that
that was pretty
armor.
That was pretty creepy.
And he's talking about time being the enemy of all, and like that he just really wants to live everlasting life. Like there's a lot there.
Yeah.
Like they had a lot that they could have mined, and I thought he had potential, but I think again, Marvel doesn't want their villains. They don't want their villains being cooler than their heroes.
To overshadow.
And this is an origin story, and they had a lot. They had Strange to fucking develop. Not a lot of people know about Strange.
No.
Mordo, Ancient One. I think they wanted to develop their time.
Well, you had to set up magic. You had to set up all the rules. Like there was a lot to set up.
I think there was potential there, but they kind of like, we don't really care too much about this.
Yeah.
Like time being an enemy, like
that's cool.
That's actually pretty next level shit.
Yeah.
So we just wrote an article about all the Marvel villains. So I feel like I have them all in my head at this point. And Caecilius just sort of like he's very middle of the road with them. I don't think he did anything spectacular one way or the other.
He's better than Malekith.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but so is everyone.
Exactly.
Rugboy's better than Malekith. Come on.
I'm the ultimate enemy. What are you talking about?
I did kind of also, I thought the makeup was interesting, being that it wasn't completely face covering, but it was fucking creepy to look at. Like, I kept staring at his face because it's this weird cracking thing, and then, is it energy? You got, like, dark pupils. I thought it was well done with just, affecting just his eyes and stuff and not having a full thing.
Why are they doing the gigantic thing with the big head with Dormammu?
Oh, there's Dormammu. Let's get to the Dormammu.
Well, you know what Dormammu looks like in the
Dormammu.
comics, right? Rugs?
Huh?
You know what he looks like in the comics, right?
Yeah. What does he look like? Why don't you describe it, Anthony, for people who haven't seen him?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So let me just.
He's a flaming head.
Yeah. He's like a flaming spawn, basically.
And he's wearing like a purple suit or something.
Yeah, like long, like capey flow. He's like purple. He's like a hellish Doctor Strange.
And he's got a body. He's a guy, as opposed to a head. I thought it was neat. Benedict Cumberbatch actually did the motion cap for the head of Dormammu. So he gets to play the bad guy and the good guy, and then they dubbed his voice in.
It was very Green Lantern-esque in terms of.
It kind of was. That's a good point. It kind of was. I did appreciate the little time loop way he beat him. That was different.
Dormammu, I'm here to bargain.
Yeah, and he's like, "What's going on, Dormammu?"
See, that's another scene I think would have benefited from a longer time frame. Like, it feels like he's there for 5 minutes, and then Dormammu's just like, "Fine."
Yeah, he's like, "All right, I can't."
But if he'd come back and it'd been like, where have you been? And it's like it's been a century.
Yeah.
But at least they, although this film is very formulaic, that end fight scene is not formulaic.
No.
This isn't Green Lantern punching Dormammu into the fucking sun. This is a clever time loop thing in a place that has no time and fucking torturing the shit out of Dormammu until he gives you what you want.
I would have liked that him to get creative, though. There was a couple of cool death scenes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would like to see Dormammu take the shape of Doctor Strange or something, and they could fight and have some little fisticuffs or something. He could do anything, Dormammu. Right?
But on the other hand,
basically
we had just seen a big fights, two big fight scenes. We didn't need another one and stuff. And going back to what Anthony was saying, that's sort of the point that I'm driving at. Is that Green Lantern is the same plot and the same formulaicness, but Doctor Strange succeeds by subverting a lot of those formulaic aspects and a lot of those tropes. And the ending is a perfect example of that. Instead of destroying a city, they're restoring one.
Rebuilt. And wow, how fucking clever. What? It's so imaginative to them fighting forward while everything around them is reversing and rebuilding. That was just, even to storyboard and concept that's got to be tricky, and it looked great. That was a great way to do it. David, let's get into that. Some of the tropes. You had a number of tropes because to me, the movie, people are like, "Oh, this is the most different Marvel movie you're ever going to see." I don't agree. This is pretty much a standard Marvel origin movie. It's a solid movie, but they do twist things a little bit. But overall, that was the one thing walking in. I felt like I knew how this movie was going to play out in terms of structure, because I've seen 13 of these already, and it kind of did that, but they had some fun with what they changed.
Yeah, so every superhero origin film pretty much follows, there's the typical hero's journey. Rugboy touched on it. It's, in kung fu films, it's in, fantasy films, Lord of the Rings has it, Harry Potter has it. Each genre sort of does it a little bit differently. So for superheroes, there's sort of 6 major points. I'm just going to list them off, and we can talk through them if you want. But it's basically, you have, the status quo. You have the acquisition of powers, or the accident, as I like to call it. Then in Act 2, you've got, your training stuff, you've got the death of the mentor, and you got the debut, which is the scene that I think has the most to discuss in this one, and then the climax, which I think we've pretty much already covered.
So yeah, the debut, which part is the debut when he finally gets his cape on?
Pretty much. So I think all those other ones are pretty self-explanatory. The debut moment for me, so it's in every superhero film, there's that moment when the superhero is ready to start going out there and saving people, and he has a moment where he starts doing that, and what's integral to that scene is that he does it in full costume. So, for instance, in Spider-Man, it's the scene where he, saves Mary Jane, and then he has another sort of debut scene where he's at the parade when he like rips his shirt open.
Yeah,
and the costume becomes very important. So for Doctor Strange, that moment's the fight in the Sanctum.
Yeah,
the difference is he's not choosing that fight. He's very distinctly saying, like, he's very like, he doesn't want to be there. He's sort of just running for his life.
Yeah, he got thrown there, like, and didn't know what to do.
I mean, so it's sort of the difference. So, like, in Kick-Ass, he basically says that line, like, like every serial killer, fantasizing wasn't enough. I had to go out and do it. Doctor Strange hasn't had that moment of, well, I'm going to go out and do it now. It's just like he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time and just running away.
Yeah.
Let me tell you when I think the debut moment is. It's not any action scene. It's, again, I think it's Tilda Swinton telling him it's not about you. That's his meal moment where he goes, like, his face changes and he's like, shit. Because like you said, before that, when he's fighting to save his ass.
Yeah.
He's not fighting to save anyone else but himself. And then when he kills that person, he's like crying about it. He's like, I didn't come into this I came to be a doctor to save lives, not to kill people. Like, even in that moment, he doesn't give a fuck about anybody. He's just doing it to save himself. It's, again, I think that's why I'm so into Tilda Swinton's role in this, is she is the one that gives him the debut moment. She's the one, because that speech could have been super cheesy. Yeah. It's all about you. Like, really, that's the line. It's all about you. But she sells it so well, and she's like in her astral plane, and the lightning is like slowly coming across the sky, and the snow is falling. Like, that whole moment is when I think Strange becomes fucking Doctor Strange, and immediately after that, he's fucking going to Hong Kong and trying to save the Sanctum.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of that, like, he kind of has to earn it a lot more. Like, he earns, like, the cape. I think the cape is, like, the costume earning.
Yeah,
right. And, like, he earns it in a way that I think a lot of characters don't earn it. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's that, he kind of had to be told that, hey, this isn't all it is. There's more to it than that.
What's cool about that moment, and I think what Marvel's done really well, is they did this in Thor too, is they make an inanimate object have personality. So that moment in Thor is when the fucking hammer rumbles out of the ground and gets into his hand as he's dying.
Yeah.
Like, that moment is when Thor becomes Thor. Same thing in here. It's a fucking inanimate object that makes it.
The exact moment I would think of when you say debut is when he gets pushed off the stairway and the cape follows him and pulls him up, and then you see him for the first time in the cape. I was like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. Like, I remember cheering in that moment. But Ruggs, I think you may agree with me. Do you guys think he earned it a little too quickly?
I do, but I mean, I understand it's a movie and you got to get things going. So it's like, it's expected in a way.
And also, his ego, like, I still feel like even at the end, it's still kind of about him. Like, he's still kind of a dick, and he's still just kind of, so it almost makes this like, this could be a super villain origin movie in a way.
I mean, so the other thing that I wanted to mention about these tropes is that, so the acquisition of powers or the accident, it's sort of two different, it's the same thing, is for the weaker character, it's meant to elevate them.
Yeah.
And it's meant to, enhance the things that they do. For the strong characters, the arrogant ones like him and Tony Stark, it's meant to make them, sort of bring them down a peg.
Humble them, yeah.
Yeah, and humble them a bit. So for Tony, that's sort of how it plays out. I mean, a little bit, but it plays out a bit more in that sense of, he kind of gets taken down a peg, and he does rethink his life. Like, you see that in the film. In this, he does not become any less arrogant at all.
Well, you know what's interesting is I listened to Mark Bernardin on Fan Man on Batman. He's a writer. He made one really interesting point that I hadn't thought of in terms of Strange's redemption moment, which is when he leaves. So he's there, and then Cassilia shows up in Hong Kong, and he just takes off, right? And they think he just fucking left, and he ran, and he makes the deal with Dormammu. He kind of defeats the villain, saves everything, except that no one is there to see him do it. Nobody knows what he did. Like, his redemption comes, but nobody saw it. So
it's only him and Mordo.
Yeah, so everyone should still think he's just a dick and he's in way over his head or whatever.
Can I make the just a quick Tony Stark comparison?
Yeah.
Everyone compares this guy to Tony Stark, and I see that there's definitely a lot of similarities. Arrogant motherfucker, super brilliant in their craft, gets taken out of peg. I would say Strange is even more of a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the scene that kind of typifies that is when he just lashes out at Rachel McAdams' character
in the beginning,
for really no reason. When he's just like,
now's when you say
kidding me?
sorry, and
this is the part where you leave.
Yeah,
this is the part where you leave. Like Tony Stark's never had a moment.
Anthony, remember when we saw that in the theater? There's like girls around us that were like, "Oh shit!" Like,
yeah, I mean, like he is literally like the kind of guy where like if he is suffering, he's gonna make everyone else around him and is close in his life feel like shit too.
Absolutely.
Like that's a pretty despicable.
I mean,
person.
he's still arrogant and like really dangerous because he just goes in without really learning and brash, and it almost makes.
Yeah, but I think he's transformed. I don't see him being this dick anymore. He's arrogant for sure. He's a fucking genius. Any genius is a little bit arrogant. If he was still the same guy, he would have used the magic to heal his hands and not done anything.
Yeah, that was interesting. Is like his
hands are still fucked up.
His hands are still fucked up, and he hasn't, because we find out. Well, that's the thing with Mordo. Like, think about it from Mordo's point of view. Mordo is almost like I almost can relate with him because he's like, dude, you are brash. You don't deserve this power. First of all, she lied to me. She's teaching all these motherfuckers that could possibly use this for ill will, these spells. And he's just like, I'm taking all this fucking power back. And even Benjamin Bratt's character was kind of responsible in the sense that he was just using the energy to walk again. Like, he didn't become a sorcerer, but even that was too much for Mordo, and he fucking took it back.
I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. Mordo's going to be a very sympathetic villain.
Mordo's very Captain America-y.
Yes,
in terms of,
yes.
He's just black and white, no compromise.
This is the magic Avengers split. Yeah, I like that.
If you feel like that he's doing the right thing, though, how do you make him into a bad guy? Just because he's opposed to Doctor Strange?
I kind of like that it's all gray in this. It's kind of a different thing for Marvel, and you can have a lot more fun story-wise with this and with the viewer. Like, do you hate him? Do you love him? Similar to what they did with Captain America Civil War, you can have fun just being like gray morality versus...
Kind of like Magneto and...
and the Xavier, yeah.
Well, it's also like the thought of like rulers and kings got to do some fucking nasty shit.
Sometimes,
but no one ever knows about that stuff.
Which is what
it's their personal burden that they have to take.
That's what the Ancient One said, and that's what she did. And Stephen understood that, and Mordo
whereas Mordo doesn't understand that.
Did not get it.
In a lot of ways, you're almost going to have like two villains fighting each other.
Yeah.
Rather than two heroes that we had in.
Mordo would rather go have the ship fucking fall.
Yeah.
And like be cool with his morals than letting the ship.
Strange will do what needs to be done.
And Strange will do what needs to be done.
Anthony, I do think this Strange would be a great to set up the Illuminati team. Like, this is kind of that perfect Strange.
I think so.
Because he's not all black and white.
Yeah. I just don't think they have enough cachet yet to do the Illuminati.
No, we're getting there.
I don't think the universe
It would basically just be like,
we're getting there.
The secret sect of the Avengers, and it kind of...
It still feels like it, even though it's been, 8 years since Iron Man came out, it still hasn't felt like it's been a long enough where they would be like, yeah, we need an Illuminati now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like heroes have stuck around.
No, they got to build up a couple more disasters and events. And so, do you guys think Strange will be the next Sorcerer Supreme? No, there's not one currently?
Oh, he's going to step right into that shit.
Which seems odd. This fucking guy just learned this shit, and now he starts Supreme. What the fuck?
Honestly, the first time I watched it, I thought that's what the ending was.
If I was Mordo, I'd be pissed. Yeah.
Yeah, the end credit scene with Thor, you definitely get the feel that he's the Sorcerer Supreme. He basically says, "I'm Earth's protector."
Yeah. What do you guys think of the mid-credit scene? That was directed by Taika Waititi, and I love the fun nature of it. And that they're setting up Ragnarok and the refilling beer. It's always a good joke.
Yeah, it was a gag.
It's always a good
It was
gag.
fun.
It felt like it might have been from the movie.
Oh, really? It
might be an extended scene. Because if you remember in Ant-Man, the mid-credit scene is a scene from Civil War, which is in the movie.
That's right. They pulled straight from the early dailies from that.
I mean, if you're going to do a mid-credit scene, it felt like Thor would be the most logical because he is the next most magic-based.
Yes.
So to have those characters interact would be cool. And I like I like that Doctor Strange is probably going to be in Ragnarok. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's. I think also, Thor is probably the one with the movie coming out that has the least amount of hype right now.
Ragnarok, that movie is shaping up to be like the best Thor movie. Like, I am so excited. I was never really excited for any of the Thor movies, but this movie I am excited for based on everything we've been reading and seeing.
So you had that mid-credit scene, and then you had the one at the end with Mordo.
Yeah.
Mordo basically is on the turn now.
He's going to be if he starts collecting every sorcerer's magic, he's going to be very powerful very quickly.
Again, I see his point.
Yeah.
I actually do see, that's why I kind of like it.
So, as in terms of getting a little bit more nitpicky, really, mostly I have positive things. I don't have a lot of nitpicky things. Some of the things I didn't like was Rachel McAdams, who is a night nurse in the comic books. Not the night nurse, but she could have used a little bit more. The astral plane fight in the hospital, which was pulled right out of The Oath, from what I understand. And listener, if you like this movie, check out The Oath. It's a 5-issue limited series, heavily inspired. This movie was inspired by it. It looked a little Ghostbustery to me, and I didn't understand the rules. Like, they're phasing through certain things, but then they get slammed up against walls and other parts. I didn't understand why that guy had to send his astral self in instead of just going in. Was he afraid of getting caught there?
Yeah, I also, the CGI in that scene was also a bit...
Okay, it wasn't just me then.
Yeah, it was also a bit weird.
I think the weirdest thing about that scene is him showing up in his astral plane and confronting Rachel McAdams, and her not being just running out of the fucking room.
Right, she should have passed the fuck out. And she just took it. She swallowed this shit very quickly.
Oh, very, very, very nice use of terms
I didn't mean to. Sorry. That was completely by accident.
Just like the fact that she's just like, okay, I'll shock you again. What? I don't understand, but
What's
okay.
going on?
That would not be me. I would be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What is going on? Yeah, you stop. Everyone stop and just explain this shit for a second.
Rugboy was in that scene. He'd be the only one that could take it.
Yeah.
Look, there was
he's got a hand up his ass, so he's already...
Hey, listen, I've been cursed by a gypsy, so I know about magic from the first degree.
He knows about spells. And there was a lot of exposition in the movie, so I get you had to cut back anyways, but just seemed a little Ghostbustery for a little bit.
Honestly, though, if we're going to keep going back to Green Lantern, it's about the same as like her completely just accepting him as Green Lantern. It's
or
like
guessing that it's him.
Okay.
Yeah.
This new thing, like this, it's a totally new thing in the world. Like I don't even care if Thor crashes through and you've already stitched him up. Like if that happened, like you would freak out.
Yeah. I mean, but again, this is a world where, Rachel McAdams' character has seen a Hulk and gods from Asgard and aliens already and all this shit going on. Yeah. Does that soften the blow a little bit? I don't know.
Maybe she was on shift the night that the zombies attacked in Daredevil.
Maybe she was there for the incident. Who knows? Let me ask you guys this. We talked about how it's kind of formula, this movie. Do you think Marvel needs to move away from this formula, or was this necessary in this instance because it's kind of Iron Man with magic and introducing a whole new dimension?
They were going to have to explain the magic somehow. I think they could probably move away from the formula. They can be probably done in another way, of course, but the magic there's got to be rules on the magic, or else people are just going to be like, well, why didn't you do that from the start?
Yeah.
Like why don't you just erase all of this right away? Like, magic is such a vague term. You have to put rules on it. I think that's why this movie was the way it was.
And anything like Matrix, like all this sci-fi, you have to set up awesome rules and then play with them, break them.
I also think the best superhero films are when the character, or just not even superhero films, but films in general, are when the main character by the end of the film is a different person. And this movie definitely, in my opinion, accomplishes that. Where the guy is just a different guy. He's not a fucking surgeon that's fucking quoting songs.
No,
he's pulling.
He's enlightened. He's been
a different guy.
Enlightened to an incredible degree. He's seen shit that he thought we would never see, that he couldn't even.
That's the problem when you bring up like Ghostbusters. That's the problem with like the sequel, like Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah,
they're the same dudes that they were in Ghostbusters 1.
There's no advancement. Yeah.
There's no character advancement.
Well,
Bill Murray is the same fucking Bill Murray that he was in the first
Ghostbusters.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's when you got to see character advancement, or else these films are just retreads.
Marvel's good at that, though, and I think they've continued this tradition of, like, look at where it's, Steve Rogers is, Tony Stark is. They've all gone through
Thor.
Yeah, they've all gone through an evolution, and which is great. It's like the comic books.
I mean, I think it's also, this movie kind of gets away with being so formulaic in that sense, and like if you look ahead at what else Phase 3 is going to bring into it. You know, those 3 movies next year, those are not going to be those formulaic movies.
Those are very different movies.
But I think
Spider-Man better not.
Oh, God. That's the one.
Everyone will kill themselves.
That's the one I'm most worried about right now.
Yeah, I do think that the Guardians of the Galaxy movie probably runs the biggest risk of having the characters get no advancement in the sequel.
And that's going to be interesting to see. Do you do the same like the first movie and have fun? Or how can we do this and progress the characters?
Yeah, exactly.
You may be right.
I think when you're trying to create a shared universe where all the things play well together, it's a big restriction there. There really is. You're kind of tying one leg down and you're trying to like do cool stuff, and you can't, with that holding you back all the time. So there is that thing that they're going to have to deal with all the time when they make a movie. Yep. You can't make Doctor Strange with Johnny Depp and Tim Burton directing would have been a completely different, crazy, dark, cool movie.
I want to see that now. Holy shit.
All right. But that's not going to happen. You're not going to get that much of a distinct movie, there. So they have to kind of vanilla it to death so they can all these flavors can play well.
I mean, you're
together.
absolutely right. You see it on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The thing that we love about it is also the thing that's really limiting everything, is that it is a shared universe. And speaking of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I don't know what kind of tie they're going to do, because they had the Darkhold book and the books in the movie. That's really about it. Now, at the end of the last episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., something happens and Coulson and Fitz kind of disappear. Do they go to this dark dimension? The dark dimension's also talked about in Agent Carter when they made in the second season. So they're kind of tying all this together, but I mean, I don't think there's going to be any tie-in with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because
I have one nitpick. I just thought of it. So when Caecilius attacks Hong Kong, right? And Dormammu is invading Hong Kong and people are dying, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Unless that happened in 2 seconds. Where the fuck are the Avengers?
Nobody noticed this, and then even the reversal of the
isn't
thing.
Isn't that a world-ending event?
But
when did they show up?
Well, but the actual world-ending event was what Strange took care of in the dark dimension that nobody saw.
No, but I'm saying in the time that it was happening.
Yeah, I don't know.
Obviously, this gets confusing.
When does this movie take place? I don't know.
Wasn't he rewinding time?
No, I'm saying before. Yeah, he was rewinding time. So
by the time he gets
had
there,
passed.
it's destroyed.
Right, no, listen. He was rewinding time. So time had passed, right? There was at least a few moments there where people are dying. A fucking purple cloud is coming from the sky to Hong Kong and destroying things. Isn't that a world-ending event? Wouldn't the Avengers show up for that?
It takes a little while to get from Los Angeles to Hong Kong.
Really?
The flight takes 20 hours, even if you're flying first class.
The signal's got to go to space and back.
They're coming from New York.
Imagine the greatest scene would have been, all right, so Doctor Strange shows up and all the purple cloud is happening, and then he makes one of those little portals, and like Bruce Banner's taking a shit somewhere.
He's
falls down,
he looks up,
and then he's like, "Oh, what the fuck am I doing here?" And he looks
That
up.
actually would have been really funny. That's a good idea.
That would have been.
Where the fuck are the Avengers? Oh, what the hell?
Well, then
Captain America's jacking off.
I mean, the Avengers would have been able to help in that situation if you look the Vision baby. But think about how many what the team is like at the end of Civil War.
Maybe.
Well, I know they might not have been able to help, but they would have.
Scarlet Witch, maybe.
Scarlet Witch.
They wouldn't have known what to do. Let's talk about this Eye of Agamotto and the Time Gem. And I'm going to do a little Infinity Stones roll call because I found this neat graphic. I think they're really, this is they've been setting this up with Thanos with the letters of his name coinciding to the gems in the MCU. For example, the Space Gem is under the letter T because it's in the Tesseract. The Soul Gem, which is the one gem we have not seen, under the letter H, ? We'll get to that in a second. Reality Gem under A is the Ether. The Time Gem under N, this is kind of a stretch, necklace being the
That's a real
Being
stretch.
the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah.
Okay, but these others are good. O is the power gem, which is the orb.
No, we got to stop. It's already over.
The necklace doesn't work.
When you go necklace, no, it's in the Eye of Agamotto.
It should have been A Agamotto, and then
Right. Or I.
or
Like in the letter E.
maybe this is forced. Okay, look,
That's forced.
S Mind Gem Scepter. But could it be possible the H stands for Hela in Thor Ragnarok, where we're probably going to get to see this whole gem,
So the gem is in Hela.
or she has it, or something. I don't know.
No,
I think the H is for hand because isn't it already in the back of the hand? That's all it is.
Or Hulk? Does Hulk have it? Does Heimdall have it?
And currently the mind gem is actually in Vision, so it'd be V.
That's true. All right, this blows this whole shitty. Look,
I love shitting on shit Imran says.
here at comics.unlimited Twitter account. You guys, he just fucked you.
It's clever. He's trying. I mean, they're trying, but I don't think they're. I don't think that's
Yeah.
going.
No.
He fucked you. What'd you guys? Any Easter eggs that you guys like that stuck out?
Yeah, I mean, you saw Avengers
You saw Avengers Tower. You saw Stan Lee reading. Stan Lee was reading this book by Aldous Huxley called The Doors of Perception, which is a book Huxley wrote while on mescaline about just fucking trippy perception. And I think it's hilarious that Stan's reading this book and he goes, "This is hilarious." Like he's laughing at this fucking trippy classic work of fiction.
You know what I liked about this movie? They didn't have a ton of fucking Easter eggs.
Yeah.
They actually did, though, if you were into Doctor Strange shit.
If you were into Doctor Strange shit, but like
all the artifacts.
Nothing really distracted
Yes,
you.
yes.
Yeah.
But all the relics, the costumes, like the boots of Voltoom or whatever, the staff of the Living Tribunal was pretty fucking, that was a nice nod.
But Imran, did you catch all this in the movie or after reading?
No, I don't know shit about Doctor Strange.
Exactly. So this stuff doesn't resonate then.
yes.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I didn't even catch the line about the guy with the back injury in the car.
Yeah. Let's talk about those two. There was two things in there. So the first one, he says, we got a guy with a Marine, possible back spine, military, experimental armor, which right away you think of two things. You think of Rhodey getting hit and falling, and you think of that other guy in Iron Man 3 who the body got twisted around the top half, and he's like, that guy's okay. He's just fine.
Yeah.
No, there's also in Thor 2, there's the scenes where Justin Hammer's demoing.
Oh, that's what I meant.
footage.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you're talking
But
about.
Derrickson has said that it's neither of those regarding that one. Now, the second person they mention, 35-year-old woman with some kind of schizophrenia. This, I think, is a possible reference to Carol Danvers' Miss Marvel.
I don't think so.
No?
Brie Larson doesn't look 35. Is she meant to be 35?
I don't know. I mean, she would be an adult. That's a good point.
Yeah, and it's also
and I don't think
that's
Carol
a
Danvers
weird
had
origin.
schizophrenia. Yeah.
I'm wondering what those things got to be. I don't think it was in there for no reason. Like, it's got to be
Typhoid Mary.
It's got to be something.
Typhoid Mary?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah, it might be like a more minuscule character like that, someone like that. I don't know if it's someone big.
I mean, the armor thing feels like a reference to that scene that we're talking about in Iron Man 2, but not necessarily to that person who is in that video, but just like a reference to the fact that like other people are still trying to, copy the Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. One of the nitpicks with this film is there's no sense of time when this is happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then one little fun Easter egg in the credits that I remember sitting there, I was reading the credits. It was weird. I was like, why is this credit up there? The last credit on the screen said something about distracted driving and dangerous driving. I was like, wait a minute, why is that in there? And then you think about when he says the warning always comes after the spells, like they were playing on that whole thing about him not reading the warning until after the spells. And I was like, why is that credit in there about distracted driving? It was fun. They get fun.
Nice.
That's good. Yeah, clever.
And do you think the Caecilius and the Zealots get turned into mindless ones in the end when they get sucked into the... Because that was the thing. He thought they were going to get immortal life, and they were, but only as shitty mindless ones that have no...
Isn't the mindless one a Fantastic Four property?
I thought it was also Dormammu and Doctor Strange.
Oh, might be.
I thought it was Donald Trump.
Dr. Trump. Dr. Trump. President Doctor? It's Trump. I suppose so.
I don't know if it's true.
All right.
What did you guys think of the humor? Speaking of that joke.
Okay, this is a good question. Who wants to start this one?
Rugs?
Am I the authority?
Well, you are have a slack hole.
It was okay. It wasn't like amazing, but it was okay. It was all right. It was like some of them hit correctly and some of them kind of didn't. So I think they did an okay job.
I mean, when I heard Dan Harmon was helping, I was kind of like, ooh, is this going to need some punching up? I heard that Harmon actually wrote the Dormammu scene. Like, that was his contribution.
Like, the Wong stuff didn't play.
Oh, you didn't laugh at the end? Really?
No.
Yeah, it was very subdued. It was a different kind of humor. It was subdued, and I agree, some of it worked. It's not, I mean, I had more fun with, like, Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy as a movie, but this is not what this movie was.
What did you think was the funniest thing in the whole movie? Was it the Cape beating up
Cape
somebody?
got a great laugh. Some of his lines of not understanding or the one word thing was kind of funny.
And then when they cut to Wong with listening to Beyonce, that was a
good gag. That was it.
It wasn't anything that he said, any joke that he said.
Right.
It was all the sight gags.
Or how he was. Yeah.
I enjoyed
Cape
the
was funny.
Mr. Doctor thing. Mr. Doctor.
Mr. Doctor.
And he's like, it's strange. He's like,
Yeah, I'm not going to judge.
I'm not.
I kind of wish they hadn't given, because the Shambhala joke would have been really good also, and that joke would have been good had we not seen it in the trailers.
I think what
does Shambhala mean?
It's
like paradise.
It means paradise. It's also a run of Doctor Strange comic books, but it was the Wi-Fi password.
I think what they tried to do is, because this movie is inevitably going to compare to like Iron Man, is they didn't want that Tony Stark.
It's a different.
They wanted the humor to be subdued.
Yes.
And they didn't go over the top. Like, I don't know if you guys remember Thor: The Dark World. I felt like the humor was way too over the top.
Yeah.
Like them, like in the climactic scene.
There's like wacky animals running by.
There's animals right. They're sliding down the glass and it's making that squeaky noise. He gets on the train. It's just too much. So I think they really like subdued it down, and I think it was okay. Like it wasn't like a standout aspect, but it didn't like make me go, "Fuck, this is too much."
It was appropriate.
They definitely didn't overdo it.
They didn't overdo it. They didn't do enough. They didn't make it like an aspect of the film where you're going to walk out. Like you walk out of Avengers and you're like, God, that was really funny.
Yes,
unexpectedly, really
and
funny.
Like Ant-Man was like, I had so much fun. But that was the other thing I wanted to ask. Ant-Man, clearly a heist movie. Guardians of the Galaxy, a sci-fi adventure movie. Winter Soldier, a political espionage movie. This just seemed to be. Did this have a genre, or is it just like it was a straight up origin magic movie?
Tried to be a kung fu movie, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a fantasy, like a fantasy magic film.
Fantasy adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a blend of like that kung fu Eastern guy goes or Western guy goes east and learns how to do it better.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
Sort of
we're gonna see more of that with the Iron Fist, but
it's also like the magic psychedelic. But honestly, I think it's just a superhero origin movie. Just doused with magic.
Solid superhero origin movie. Yeah. All right, look. Let's wrap it up this way. Let's get your final thoughts. If you want to give it a grade, go ahead. And then I want to know where it stacks up in the Marvel movies for each of you fellas. Ruggs, you want to start?
I thought it was middle of the road. I liked it. I would give it like a B. Something like it was okay. It was not my favorite Marvel movie, but I think it did everything well, and I was entertained. It was a very entertaining movie. And even though Benedict Cumberbatch isn't my first pick, I think he did a good job. And I think the biggest weakness is the bad guy, which is in every Marvel movie. And I just wish there was a little bit more meat. Just a little bit more.
Okay.
That's all.
Fair enough. Molofsky.
For me, whenever I see a film, I think that the most important thing is to succeed in doing what it wanted to do. And I think this one absolutely succeeds in, just being a fun movie with, the magic and stuff. I thought it worked. I'd probably give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. And in terms of like where it plays with the other Marvel movies, I think probably just a little bit higher than middle. So like maybe like high 6 or 7.
Okay.
Down.
High mids. Yeah. All right. Anthony.
I think I rated it a B- in my initial reaction. So I'll go with a number this time instead. I'll go like 7.2, something like that. I'd have to reevaluate like where I ranked them. I forgot. We even did a show.
I don't remember. I don't remember
where I ranked everything.
They can check the show notes.
I would again just go right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's not like the most mind-blowing film ever, but I think it did enough visually, and I think some of the acting did enough to make it just like a better than average Marvel film.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with everybody. Like, this was a really hard concept, but they made about the best Doctor Strange movie you could make. The visuals, the production design, the 3D, fantastic. But yes, just a formula movie. I'd give it a B, and I'm going to put it somewhere right in the middle, right about a 6 or 7 out of 14 in terms of Marvel. So But I see a lot of people. It's interesting. A lot of reaction. People absolutely love this movie. Like, it goes everywhere from like, this is the best movie ever to, it's just okay. But again, Marvel has yet to make a failure. They have yet to make a bomb. Cross your fingers. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But we're 14 movies in,
and 14 number one opening boxing.
14 number one box. So that's telling you, wow, dude. That is an impressive stat.
14 that are
opening at number one.
Also 14 if you're a fan of like looking at what critics think. I think 14 that are certified fresh. I'm not.
Yeah, they have yet to make a fucking bad movie. They haven't missed. So keep it going, man. Very excited for what we got next. Black Panther, right, and then Spider-Man. Or Guardians first.
Guardians. Yeah, you go Guardians, Spider-Man. Thor, Black Panther, then you got Avengers, Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Avengers. Oh, and Ant-Man and the Wasp is somewhere in there too.
Yeah, I think that's 18.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't remember. Wow. I think it's before Avengers.
Well, next year's a trio of.
We got a trio next
Guardians, Spider-Man, Thor. That's gonna be great.
Yep. And you get Black Panther in February, so within like a year,
next 2018,
you get 4. Yeah, you get 4 movies.
Yeah, and they're cranking them out. 4 movies, possibly 3 Netflix series. Maybe some more TV. We'll see. But Marvel's
the bubble is bursting. Let me tell you.
I think this is. I don't know. It's getting close. The bubble is growing. It's getting very thin on the edges. They got to keep it together.
I'm being facetious,
but I mean, it's gonna get there at some point. But they seem to be impervious to that a little bit still at the moment. So
I feel like people are noticing the
formula. Yes.
The formula. And that's going to really start sticking out. Civil War managed to kind of do something different when they had these 2 heroes against each other and they're both right. And that was interesting, that whole dichotomy. But like, if they're going to do these origin movies, like, you're thinking about Captain Marvel coming down the pipeline. That's an origin film. Black Panther
won't be.
Are these going to kind of still step in the same line that these guys are going in already?
That's an interesting point, because this is the first time I've seen where, like, after an origin film, people are like, that was clearly an origin story and that was pretty formulaic. Like, people are pointing that out now.
Right?
Like actually talking about, like, was this formulaic? Was this origin story? Yeah, well, like,
people like the general audience never used to say that. But I also think
they used to never care.
Yeah, but I think a lot of these movies are also someone's first Marvel movie in a way. So,
but they weren't making these kinds of movies that often. Right. Now we're getting them all the time. So now people are starting to pick up on, all right, everything's the same. Like when, like, let's say, for example, when that Batman movie came out with Michael Keaton, there was no movie that was a predecessor to that we would kind of, like, even Superman, the first Superman was completely different than Batman.
Yep.
You had that being told in, it wasn't an origin story. It was being told in snippets throughout the story how he became Batman. They didn't even really get into that.
But that also was kind of annoying in the sense that it wasn't really about Batman. But then that led way to give you the awesome Batman Begins.
It was a Joker origin story more than Batman.
Yeah, but Batman Begins is also very formulaic. It hits all those marks again.
That's a good point.
Batman Begins could be easily compared to Doctor Strange.
Yes.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with being formulaic if you use it right.
Yes.
And I think this movie did. I think it subverted a lot of the elements of the formula. And I think
it could, yes.
It brought something new to the table, where like films like Man of Steel and Green Lantern just sort of did it by rote and expected people to like it.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, guys. All right, David, we got a little segment called David's Kickstarter Corner. What do you got for us, D? Take it away.
This month, my friend Neil Gibson, is running a Kickstarter for his comic Theatrics, which is all available online as a webcomic. So you can check it out before you back the Kickstarter, but I highly recommend doing it because I know there's a lot of cool extras in the Kickstarter. So the story is basically it's set in like the 1920s, and it's about an actor who gets beaten up and sort of loses his pretty face in the process. And so he decides to sort of do something else and kind of ends up being a boxer, and there's a lot more to it, and it gets really cool really quick. And it's a really, really gripping story.
So it's not, he doesn't become like a superhero. It's more of like a real world. What happens to someone? This is the Kickstarters for a 132-page hardcover graphic novel. Yep. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and they've already raised, I think, like $13,000, something like that.
$15,581. So
what's their goal?
They've passed their goal, 12.5, and they still have 18 days to go. So they're hitting stretch goals. But what a collection of work! Like how this must have taken forever to put as independent 132. It's full color. Wow.
Neil is a machine. He's putting out comics left and right. He's got a whole series called Twisted Dark. I think they're on volume 6. It's like a horror anthology. He's got Tabitha is another one of his that's really good. If you want to check out, we've got a lot of reviews of his work on A Place Hang Your Cape. His company's called T-Pub. If you want to search for that.
Art by Leonardo Gonzalez. I'm looking at the art on this Kickstarter. It's very good.
Oh yeah.
It's this is high production, good quality, really well done. All right, that's cool. Check it out. Of course, I'll have links in the show notes to this, jockandnerd.com/139. And look, if you're looking for, if you're tired of like big superhero Marvel DC comics, Kickstarter has kind of become a place where you can shop for really different, new, independent, fun comic books. And it's just exciting. And we talked to a bunch of these people. You can check out the feed.
And you can put in donations for comics and never get the comic.
Well, we're still waiting on one. I'm looking at you, Samernauts and Mark Allen Fishman. We're still working on the book.
Oh, wait a minute. It's been a year and a half.
Whatever. I'm sure we'll get it when it's done.
Wow, you're just cool with that? All right,
Speaking of things that are done, listener, if you're a regular listener, you may have heard that when I talked about the Place to Hang Your Cape Power for Good calendar. David, again, thanks for thinking of me to do the artwork. The boys here made fun of me for the piece. It was great.
It was a noble cause.
It was for a noble cause, anti-bullying.
And we like to give Imran
Of course,
shit
any reason. That's why I brought it up. I was like, they're going to give me shit. This is going to be great. But really, especially in this post-11/9 world, any reason for anti-bullying is so important.
11/9.
Yes, 9/11, never forget. 11/9, always regret.
Oh, shit.
Absolutely.
But the anti-bullying message now more important than ever. How did the experience go with the calendar and everything?
It went really well. Everything worked out pretty well. We had a 250 print run where we sold 100 to a school directly, and that was that put us really far over our mark.
Nice.
We had a really good success. It's been really well received by everyone who's seen it. Everyone's just been praising all the artwork by both the kids and the artists who worked on it, and we've raised a lot of money for a really good cause, and I'm really happy with it.
Congrats, man. I mean, working in print production and creative, I know what kind of a hassle it is to get something printed and to have it come out right and to look at the proofs. Like that's a lot of work there, man.
Yeah.
You guys killed it. Good job.
Yeah, no, that's really, really awesome, man. Good work.
Thanks, guys.
All right. And we have
happy to support.
Yes.
Especially make Imran draw.
Yes, make me do work. Not like I do enough on this podcast, which is everything.
I had a weapon to his back the entire time. Draw. Keep drawing.
He had a scimitar to my neck. He was gonna ISIS me if I didn't fucking do it.
Holy shit.
Look, it's post-Trump world. Political correctness is out the window. You could say whatever the fuck you want, all right? That's the world we're living in. Deal with it. Look, we got a tweet from somebody in response to our Luke Cage review. Ed G, who goes by @It'sYourBoyEd on Twitter, he writes, "The Woo are definitely part of the MCU. Check out the deleted scenes in Iron Man 1 at the 146 mark," and he sends us a YouTube video. So weird. I was like geeking out about the fact that Method Man and the Wu-Tang Clan are in the Marvel universe. Like Luke Cage is a fan of Method Man. But first of all, this clip, I'd never seen this outdated clip, this deleted clip from Iron Man 1. Everybody looks so young. Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow. It seems like it was so long ago. It was 8 years ago. And it's this clip where
8 years is
a long time. So it's this clip where he's going to this party, and it's quite racy because he's about to get into like a foursome with like 3 girls in bikinis. And I was like, wow, this is that's pretty hot for a Marvel movie.
Yeah, they should have
left that in.
Oh, yeah.
But
this scene is awesome.
Yeah, right? So I think that guy in the purple, the resolution is bad. I think that's one of the Wu-Tang, if not Method Man.
Is it Ghostface?
It might be Ghostface Killer.
Yeah, I think it is.
So he talks about having his Bentley. He's like, "Oh, I still got your Bentley. I'm sorry." So, but what, like 8 years ago, the Wu-Tang were already introduced into the MCU? I fucking love that. I love it. Good catch by Ed G. It's your boy Ed. Hooking us up.
Yo, I gotta go pee real quick.
All right.
Do it.
We're almost done.
No, let him pee while he.
Okay, go.
Let him pee while we can wrap up while he's peeing. Leave this. We'll edit this on post. No, we won't.
Okay. It's pee
Go
time.
pee, Rugs, and make it back so we can tell people where to find you on the internet. Also, I got to thank Brett Zafka. He made a PayPal one-time donation because he kind of
in addition to his Patreon?
No, he's restructured. Look, some people are like, I want to get out of recurring, things, and I'll give you one time yearly, and we get that, of course. Anyway, I want to make it easy for you to support us however you want. So if you go to our website, there is a PayPal donation. You can just make a one-time payment. And look, if you're nice enough and you ask nicely, I will give you the RSS link for the bonus content. Also, maybe depends how much you support us. But thanks to Brett, man. I can't thank him enough for his continued support.
Thank you, Brett. And are you recovered yet from Cleveland?
Sorry about the
World
Cleveland.
Series?
There's always next year, when the Cubs will win again.
Heard about there's this team called the Chicago Cubs that might have won.
They're gonna keep winning year after year. And also, I want to mention a recent appearance on another podcast, the Trivia Geeks podcast. There's a new episode up. I'm on there being my regular jackass self. But you really learn a lot. I'm learning a lot on this show. They do a section called Dumb Laws. There's just random trivia.
It proves that you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Dude, you have to listen to the show because the amount of answers I pull out of my ass and I get right is hilarious. Like most of the time, I'm just guessing and it's fucking right. And you can teach an old dog.
I'll put that show on my list right after Stranger Things.
Oh, you got to watch the Stranger Things. They're doing a second yet. They're doing a second season, and they got Sean Astin and who else? There was another 80s guy.
From Goonies.
Yeah, Sean Astin from Goonies. Who's the other fucking guy they got in? There's another 80s person. Anyways, and here's a spoiler. 11 will be in season 2. That's also been confirmed. So we weren't sure about that. But Anthony, watch it, don't watch it, whatever. We still got to find Godzilla. There's a lot of stuff we got to catch up on.
I still got to watch all the TV shows. Yeah,
you got to catch up on the TV shows. Look, I just want to take a moment to thank all the networks we are on that carry our show, especially David Molofsky's A Place to Hang Your Cape. I love our relationship we've had. You are great to have on the show anytime. We're also on Weeby Geeks, Tangent Bound Network, Geek Life Radio every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central, geekliferadio.com. David, why don't you tell the listener where they can check your stuff out?
Well, obviously, you can go to ap2hyc.com. That's 2, the number 2. A place to hang your cape. We have all your superhero needs, tons of comic book content. We review the shows every week. So now that the Jock and Nerd aren't doing it anymore, we're picking up the slack.
Nice.
You can find us.
Thanks for picking that up.
But we're not picking up slack holes. Just putting that out.
Oh, no slack holes.
No, that's just
grab them by the slack hole.
Shit.
You can find us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram at AP2HYC, and you can find me at AP2HYC_David on Twitter.
Right on. Ruggs, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter only Twitter at Really Rugboy.
That's right. Look, subscribe to the show on iTunes. Leave us a rating and review. Just visit jockandnews.com. jockandnerd.com/review. What did I say? Jock and News.
Jock and
News. Jock and Nerd.
You will get a different site. Let's look up
what
that is.
jockandnews.com. Tell us what that is. If you own that domain, send us an email. Finally, tell a friend. Spread the geekery. Send the show to someone who's seen Doctor Strange and would enjoy our nonsense, our brand of analysis. And we love having you guys listening. Thank you so much. And here for you right now, the full version of maybe our new intro song. Look, send us an email. Let us know what you think. Your comments, we'll tweak it. But peace out. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the Nerd.
We'll hear you next time.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
We're making it great again. Let's go.
Make Felties great again.
Check 1. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. We jocking, we nerding. We funny, disturbing. We jocking, we nerding. We spoiling, alerting. Oh yeah! We jocking, we nerding.
Slenderman, Scott Craven, and Vermin. Shocking, nerding. We funny, disturbing. Oh yeah! Shocking, nerding. We spoiler alert. Give me no one time. Shocking, we nerding. We mocking the world. And Anthony's a jock who's trying to get a word in. He's chilling at a Comic-Con without a shirt. His favorite Batman is not from Tim Burton. Shocking, we nerding. What's up? What's up? We funny, disturbing. Oh yeah! We shocking, we nerding. Come on! We spoiler alert. We shocking, we nerding. We're shocking, perverted. Rugboy is a puppet with a slackle full of bourbon. He looks like a reject from a show from Pee Wee Herman. He loves Godzilla, but not the current version. We shocking, we nerding. We funny, disturbing. Yeah! We shocking, we nerding. Hold on! We spoiler alert. Yeah! This is for all you motherfucking fans out there listening to Jock and Nerd Podcast. What's up, Imran? What's up, Anthony? What's up, Russ? You motherfuckers is tight. You know all that shit